Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen, where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert, guys, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes, from polls to quizzes, functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We've got your back, no wreck. We've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in the fun, engaging way.
Hey guys, how you doing? Anyone there? Hello.
We're here. Hello.
Oh, good.
Yeah, doing good, doing good, doing good.
I was just saying hi, and no one was answering me. Good to see you all. So wow, this was a big week for Zoom. Except the new Stream Deck plugin, it just broke on me today. It's not working now.
But why, David? Why?
I don't know. I'm getting the big exclamation point when I press the button. Every other button is working on my Stream Deck.
Here's a question for you. Oh, go ahead.
I got to tell you, it happened to me too. Unplug it, plug it back in. Happened to me too.
Yeah, unplugging is easier said than done with my setup. I have no idea where this goes. Hold on, let me find it. I'm trying it.
So, Jen, let me ask you while David's doing that. Do you actually run Companion as well as the Stream Deck software?
No, I do not. I do not. I'm using Ecamm Live and the Stream Deck.
Okay. All right. And you did notice that you had to do that because of the fact that what happened when it actually stopped working for you?
It completely froze. It was lit up, but it was completely frozen. So I had to the first thing I always do is load up the software. In that case, nothing was working either with the software, so I quit the software, unplugged the my Stream Deck, plugged it back in, and it all came back to
No,
working.
but are you using Ecamm for Zoom?
No,
Okay.
I'm using the virtual eCam.
The virtual camera and you're using the new Zoom plugin for Stream Deck. It's brand new.
That's correct. They just released it.
Yeah. So no, that didn't help. Mine's still dead.
Oh, okay.
Now, David, let me ask the question of the day.
Go ahead. Bring it. I'm ready.
Are you running Companion and the Stream Deck software at the same time?
No. I'm not running Companion at the same time. I've restarted every app. I've restarted my computer. I ran clean my Mac. I've unplugged, plugged in, and it is just not working. And I'm sad. That makes me sad.
Well, to quote Dave Hamilton, maybe you got to nuke and pave re-download the software for eCam.
Wait a second.
I mean, for Stream Deck.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Why is that? Wait a second. Something weird is going on here. This is. Now I don't know what's happening because I clicked on tell me more and it brought up something that it shouldn't have brought up. So is this not the right Zoom plugin that I'm using? Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. Let's see. Because there was one before, Zoom by Elgato,
That is correct.
open in Stream Deck.
The other Zoom plugin takes advantage of the key presses. It's not really a proper plugin, with all
Right,
due
so
respect
it
to the
says
guy that wrote it, but it is a good fiddle.
So it says it's already installed.
What
Okay.
version is it? That's the best. If it's version 1.0.0.1 or something like that, then it's the new one. If it's a higher number, it will be
Yeah.
the old one.
All right. So let me see here. Done. Okay. So it doesn't really tell you what. I'm not sure how you see.
You choose one of the buttons on the selection list before you drag it over and do the Apple equivalent of a right click.
Zoom plugin 3.0.
Yeah, that's the old one by the not by Zoom.
So why does it? That's so weird. Why is it? All right. So let me get rid of that. It says it's installed.
Yes, but it works on key presses. So if you haven't enabled all your key presses in your Zoom, it won't work.
No. This was working. I was
Okay.
using this already. And when I go to say, well, I didn't expect, I'm sorry, guys. This was not my plan for this morning, for today, rather. It's so interesting because it says that it's installed, but I don't actually see it in. Let me try one more time. Zoom by Elgato.
Yeah, I went down that hole to a degree, David, and I just deleted the other one because it just confused me. But there may be a conflict.
No, absolutely. Zoom plugin is already installed. It can be found in your actions list. See, but it can't, my friend. That's the problem. It's not. Oh, I'm not showing you guys anything.
Yeah. There you go. Thanks,
sorry.
David. I was just going to ask you for that.
Sorry about that. So let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of. See, these were all. I dragged these all over from the Zoom app. I mean, from the Zoom plugin. So something goofy is going on here. Let me. Let's go into this. How do I actually delete these? Can you actually delete them? You can do that from over here, right? Accounts, profiles, plugins. All right. So So that's the one I want. This we're going to get rid of. Uninstall. See, so it's there, but for some reason, it's not visible.
Yeah, I cleared both of mine out, David, and then put the Zoom one back in.
Oh, okay. So let me try that. Uninstall. Okay. Now we're going to go back here and we're going to say open in Stream Deck. And so now where to go? Zoom. There it is. Okay. So go away, please. Done. So now let's see if this works. Audio. Yeah, now it's working. Well, that was weird. Huh.
Oh, John, you think that maybe it was that they're conflicting with each other?
Well, how can I put this politely? They shouldn't be, because Elgato forces everybody to have a completely unique identifier. And the way they are working is very different. But it is possible. But we don't know exactly how the new one works, because it's not a JavaScript, it's compiled code. So unless I get a sniffer on it, I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly how it communicates with Zoom. But it's very neat that it does it.
You know what's so strange? Maybe I've just lost my mind. Okay. So I'm just going to put record there, I guess. Boy, I had this all set up and it just kind of disappeared. Interesting. So this is a multi-action. Let me see if this is still set up correctly. Yeah, see, this is the action. This is the one I had in there. Oh, well. Okay. So remember when I said it wasn't working? It's working. I lied. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. Boy, Zoom had a big week. They had lots and lots of stuff to announce this week. In fact, thanks to Andy, he sent me a, and here we go. Listen to this. So he just wrote me because he's watching. Of course. Both of the old and new plugin are named Zoom. If you install the new one without uninstalling the old third-party one, Elgato merges all the actions into one list. That's exactly what happened. I remember having a much longer list than I see now. You should manually uninstall the old third-party plugin before installing the new one by Zoom. There you go.
But that's not good from Elgato's point of view.
And I think it would be, I didn't look
There's
carefully.
something wrong with there's something wrong with their software. They force us to have unique IDs, and yet you have two apps with the same name and they conflict. That's a bug in that Elgato need to solve, because otherwise, all I can think of now, David, is lots of terrible ways that I can destroy your life by creating lots of random plugins with the same name as plugins that you want to use.
Right. And you know, it's interesting because anyone who's going to download the Zoom plugin probably had the old one, unless they're new to Stream Deck, which means that if they don't have this information, they're going to run into this issue also. I wonder if, I just want to check one other thing. If it says somewhere on plugin, now you don't have to spotlight me. It's all right. There's nothing to see over here. I want to see if there's on the Zoom plugin page, if there's something that says, hey, you know, uninstall the old one. There isn't. That would be helpful to have on there.
Yeah, well, I think I will, while this event is going out, I think I will go into the developers forum and use my authority there and put a post up there so that people know.
Yeah. Interesting.
And
Now, is it my
more importantly, the
imagination?
community forum as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jan, didn't want to talk over you.
Is it my imagination that the choices that the new Zoom plugin is limited?
Yes.
I mean, extremely limited.
Extremely limited. And what's interesting, again, is that when I initially installed it, I had a really long list. I thought, this is great. but it was, as Andy just pointed out, it had merged the two plugins together. Yeah, the options that we have for in the new Zoom plugin are, I mean, it's audio, video, share screen, lever end, raise hand, react, share options, and record. Now with the react, what you can do, and here I will actually, did that work? Oh, I didn't rename myself, so I can't do that. Give me a second. I'm falling apart today, everyone. I apologize. I have a good reason to be falling apart. My daughter is in Israel, and so and they're currently being attacked. So I'm I have Twitter open and I'm watching that. So I apologize. But the react button, if you pull the react button in, then as I understand it, right. So now you can choose. So what you could do is you could have a whole bunch of buttons, one for each react, and just pressing that button would put that react up. The same is true. I think that's it, actually. Actually, let's see. Is the same true for share options? Oh, this is actually nice. Look at this. Share options will toggle share sound and optimize for video sharing. That's new. I hadn't seen that one before. So there are a couple more that are hidden in here, but generally speaking, yes, you're right. It's relatively limited. The takeaway, I think, in the release of this particular tool is that this is trying to bring, on the most basic level, a little bit of the control that Companion gives us. Specifically by showing us states on the Stream Deck. So I can see, am I muted? Am I unmuted? Is my video on? Is my video off? Am I recording? Am I not recording? So that's the magic of this plugin. It's not just that you can actually control things, although that's great. It's the simplest form of giving us feedback on the buttons, so we know what we're doing. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, if you want the other functions, then just go down your list in your settings for all the things that can be key presses, record all the key presses,
right?
And then you can program them into, I think there's quite a few plugins now that allow you to record key presses. And so you can get access to all the other functions that way. But of course, what's important, as you rightly said, about this app is this app talks to Zoom and gets a reply back. So when you have the mute on and off, you can get the status and see what's going on.
And the key, if you're using the hotkeys to trigger things, is one of two things. Either make sure that you click, if it's available to you, global action in your settings, or if you don't do that, just use a multi-action in Stream Deck and use the open application first so that it calls Zoom to the front, and then put that key command in second. All right, we kind of skipped over the hellos, so I'll just say hi. Hello, Jan. Hello, Jason, Frank, Mike, Hasmuk, Roland, Lois. Who am I missing who's not on camera? I think that's everyone, actually. Should we talk a little bit about some of the things that they released? There was quite a bit. We've got, let's see, big updates to Zoom Rooms, including custom AV announcements like Blackmagic being the launch partner for their new hardware I/O card certification category. So Zoom now has a rigorous program for first and third-party lab testing of production workflows to achieve this certification. Duo and Quad are the first cards to come through and pass. Can someone translate that into normal speak?
The Duo card is a dual input card, and the Quad card is an 4-input card made by Blackmagic. Those are video capture cards that can be put into any type of mostly PCs, but again, in the Mac world, you would have to put it into a dock, a PCI-based dock, because it is a PCI slot-based capture card. And then you'd have to go from a Thunderbolt type PCI dock and bring it in via Thunderbolt into the Mac.
And so now they're certifying certain, very similar, I guess, to how they in Zoom Rooms, they have different Zoom Rooms devices that they certify. So it's the same idea, I guess.
It sounds like it, David. From the capture world, it would be more of how the actual hardware integrates with the Zoom Rooms custom AV. I'm still going by the old name. I'm not sure what actually the new name is, but the way that the capture card interacts with the actual Zoom Rooms software to make sure that all the different inputs and outputs are being able to be seen by the Zoom Room software.
Yeah, there's so many pieces of hardware out there now, David, isn't there? From $20 capture cards to hundreds of dollars capture cards.
Well, what's interesting, this first announcement is really, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, is aimed toward broadcast, because the second announcement they had is really about the rest of us and our little dinky stream decks. They also have a program for that now called Personal Productivity Devices, which allows you to use a device SDK. And that's exactly, and the Zoom plugin for Stream Deck is the first thing to use that. So am I right that the custom AV announcement with Blackmagic, that's really more broadcast oriented or production?
And the big corporates, because corporates with big production studios or higher than just a normal meeting room, those sort of things, they need the security of knowing if they're going to spend thousands of dollars on some of this equipment, that it works with Zoom. And the best way Zoom can protect itself from not being blamed for nothing not working is to have a good and robust way of testing them and signing them off. So I think it's good, showing how the market's maturing, isn't it? Really.
Is this also is this a way for Zoom to get into the hardware game without getting into the hardware game? Right, by having SDKs that plug in to certain devices that they, I'm not sure what the word is, authorize or allow, and for partnering with certain hardware companies, is that what is happening here?
It's doing their best to make sure that they tickle the line of, we'll build the software to your hardware, or here's the specs of what our software can do. If you build hardware to make it work with our software, then we'll certify it.
Gotcha.
Right. So in one way or another, from phones to, as they're now calling it now, personal productivity devices. And of course, I took a look this week as well at Logitech, aka Logi, as they're known now. They also have a baby Stream Deck competitor as well.
Wait,
called the creator bundle, I believe.
Oh yeah,
some sort of creator bundle, and it's actually a little baby looking Stream Deck that actually is basically an Elgato Wave in conjunction with the baby Stream Deck. So it looks like a Stream Deck Neo and an actual Elgato Wave, because it's actually got a dial on it. David, I know you're searching for it now.
I am.
Go ahead.
I think it's very, it's obvious that people outside of Zoom are going to be making hardware. And so I think it's very smart of Zoom to say, well, whatever people make, they can let us test it. And if it passes, we'll certify it. I think that's a very smart way for them to do. Then they don't have to do any hardware, but they don't run the risk of things not working.
I mean, it's a very different approach than Apple takes, which is we want to own the entire stack from start to finish. This is very much the sort of the Google Chrome, even Windows approach, which is we'll do our software really well. We might pretend to make hardware, but it won't be good, so don't even pay attention to it. And then
I think the emphasis you should be looking at is in corporate AV, Pro AV and broadcasting, there's a culture of standards and specifications that are known and have to be met so that you get desired and predictable outcomes. And that's a whole different philosophy than consumer electronics and, you know, enthusiast approaches to things. So they're just doing a mature thing, which is saying, you know, we want to be in that arena, and we're going to make it possible for vendors to meet our, you know, to meet our specifications and to set the tolerances, and that'll make it easier for them to be a big name in those kind of venues, which is good for them because selling a $14 a month Zoom Pro license is not going to have nearly the impact of some huge corporation ordering 20,000 user licenses for their Minnesota branch and 75,000 for their, you know, Austria branch or whatever. Like it's nickels and dimes versus big money.
Right. The last, I think, big announcement was this, and forgive me, do you think it's just neural net or good neural net or
Neural net,
Well,
like a neural.
no, but this is an actual company, G Neural. I just don't know how they say it.
Neural.
I don't think so. Because neural net.
I believe the G is silent,
Yeah.
like I
I'm
should
gonna
be.
call it GNeural.
No.
No. Lois, you look so
called it
disappointed.
gnat?
Gnarly. Jason says it's like gnarly. Okay.
Yeah, or gnat, you know?
Dude. All right, fine. GNeural. So NeuralNet announced a new product called Live to Air Z, marking a pivot from WebRTC to Zoom's SDKs for remote contribution. This is a Windows solution for grabbing participants from Zoom and exporting them to production protocols. One of their unique features is the ability to identify participants to export based on their live interactivity data in the meeting. This is interesting, I think. This makes me think, again, about broadcast, who are all using Windows devices, I would imagine, and being able to grab those ISO feeds natively without having to go through without having to use ISO. Here's the website. Live to Air Z, professional Zoom integration for broadcast and live production workflows. Live to Air Z empowers producers to go beyond fixed panel guests, offering dynamic audience interacting, live question handling, and participant selection based on real-time feedback like hand raises, reactions, and chat activity. Okay. So this is using Zoom OSC. Wow, that looks awful on my screen. Does that look awful on everyone else's screens too? Sorry, that looks a little better now. This looks like sort of a mixture of Zoom ISO and Zoom OSC here, or it's using both. I mean, they're both really built on the same foundation. So now you can select folks with their hands raised, using real-time feedback on their hand raises, reactions, chat activity. Very interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you assuming that they're using Zoom OC, or did they do something of their own that's
No.
different?
I didn't mean to suggest they are using Zoom.
Okay.
I meant to suggest that they're using the same functionality. Like they're listening, whatever they've
The same programming concepts,
Right. Sorry. They're using those as the same SDK.
but they may have their own
Oh, absolutely.
code that does it differently.
Yeah, I didn't mean to suggest that. Sorry if I did. John, go ahead.
Many of us may know of these people as they hide behind the Streaming Alchemy YouTube channel, which used to be very regular. And then it went off air for a while, and I believe they're back on air on a weekly basis now as well.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
And they are a company that does a lot of AV, and they've had this live to air product for as long as I can remember. So it's a big move for them to decide to go around Zoom on the SDK than their own completely customized service.
So in some ways, in a very, I mean, compared to them, we're probably tiny, but this is sounds to me like this is exactly what Ecamm did, and Mimo Live perhaps also, and vMix actually. So right, vMix has interview call-in, as I understand it, Mike. Ecamm has
Correct.
interview mode, but now they both integrate, and I believe Mimo also has an interview feature, but now they all just integrate with Zoom and use Zoom as their backend for that workflow.
Yeah, which is what Zoom wants, because in the broadcast world, they want to replace all these other call-in products.
Yep.
So that people only call in using Zoom.
Well, guess what? They're making some headway.
Yeah, definitely. And this
Yeah.
is a
Wow.
difference between the open, not open source, but open access API and SDK approach of Zoom against a closed world of some of the other people I could mention. And this is now paying dividend because people don't have to take what there is there. They're given a toolkit and then they can then integrate that with their software. So their software gains value and Zoom gains value for the interaction.
Forgive me for not understanding how this works, but Zoom gets paid every time an app uses the API or makes a call or something. How does this benefit Zoom's bottom line? Everyone else using their free SDK.
Everyone using their free SDK doesn't benefit Zoom whatsoever because the free SDK is free. But there's two ways you can use the SDK in a live environment, shall we call it. The first one is you can use it behind a Zoom license. So if you have a Zoom license, you can run your SDK through it. But if you want to, there's also the ability to buy time on the SDK. So you become a complete software application in your client end, but all the back end is all run by Zoom, and they charge you a per minute basis for running that back end.
So either the participant has their own Zoom account, which allows them to use the service, or
Yep.
the production studio essentially has a Zoom account and then allows you to log in or join. It's not, I understand it's not the same, but
no, but it's the same idea because everybody has a client.
Right.
Everybody has a client piece of software. That client piece of software needs to connect to Zoom in the cloud to go wherever they're going to go. So you either buy that through licenses or you can buy it per minute and then have a completely closed system. There are, I can't think of one on the top of my head now, and the one I can think of unfortunately failed, but there are companies that have taken a Zoom SDK, they've made a fancy front end, they've had an application. I know one was for interviewing students or for jobs. So they use Zoom as the way of people meeting. They did all the front end, they worked with the SDK, all the back video processing and whatever was done by Zoom, and that's an application. Zoom are not going to make much money selling licenses so the broadcast industry can call in. But that's only a very simple thing that you do in the broadcast world. It opens up lots more things that they could do with the broadcast world at a bigger level.
Gotcha.
And therefore, it's a good way to get your foot in the door and have a niche in the broadcast world that you're producing that other people can't. I can think of lots of different ways that I could use Zoom in a broadcast environment, especially if we went from TV to interactive TV. So maybe you have, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but we have something in the UK called Gogglebox, which is a TV program. I don't see the point of, but I'm sure people do because they watch it a lot. And all you do is watch a load of people watching TV. And you don't even get to see the TV because broadcast rights. So you watch a load of people sitting on a sofa reacting to TV, which hopefully you've watched so you know what they're getting happy about.
That's
that is a good
on office hours whenever there's an Apple event. People tune into office hours and watch us watch the event.
Yeah. But if you could get the broadcast world to start putting Zooms in, then you could do more than just watch somebody watching. You can start interacting with them while they're watching. You could have an audience doing all their replies, doing all their feedback.
I'm looking at the live to air website, and they have on the sales page, you can of course buy the, for $800 you can get 6 remote guest channels. You can get 12 remote guest channels for $1,500. I mean, there's a lot more that you're getting here. You're getting push to talk. You're getting on air and off air video and audio return feeds. I mean, this is really a full featured system. This isn't just.
Yeah, I've actually experienced it, David. I've been on the Streaming Alchemy channel, and I've actually been interviewed on the channel 2 or 3 times. And you connect through their app in those days. Now you connect through Zoom, and you are literally in a virtual green room.
Yeah.
You can hear it's a bit like being in a backstage on a Zoom events license. You can hear the program going on the background. You can talk to the back office guys who can ask you questions and make sure you're happy and whatever. And then you just go live and they switch you video wise into the main studio and you become a guest on the program.
Yeah.
And that's on their Streaming Alchemy, which streams out to YouTube. Well, it could have just easily streamed out through the broadcast world.
Yeah.
So it's really neat.
It's also interesting to me that they also have the hardware and software bundles, and that built into their hardware bundle is Blackmagic, the Decklink Quad V2, and as you get bigger, dual Blackmagic Decklink quads. So these partnerships they're all working together here, which is nice.
That those cards from Blackmagic, David, are very popular in the video capture world, especially if you're using an eCam, especially if you're using a vMix, etc., because you need to bring those hard cameras in. And this is again for production use in the field where you're not limited by plugging in 4 cameras via USB, which we should never do because that will overload the USB buses.
Well,
we learned that vMix many years ago.
Right. So the folks who use this, what eCam folks do is if you'll get a Decklink card and put it in a what's it called, a Sonnet box or something like that, in a chassis of some sort, and you plug that in. Great. And then what that gives you is it gives you 4 distinct camera sources in to your, whereas an ATEM Mini, for example, you've got 4 ins, but when you plug that in USB to your Mac, you only get 1 camera at a time. You have to switch on the ATEM Mini. It only gives you 1 feed. I actually have, I don't even know if it's plugged in here, but I have it's like for $129, a little dual box that actually you plug 2 guys in, 1 USB out, and you actually get 2 distinct signals, and it works brilliantly. I've never had a problem with it. I right now have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 video sources plugged in to a Mac Studio, and I have some what do you call those? The heavy duty
USB hubs.
Yeah, and I've never had an issue. So yes, if you're doing multiple camera, I mean, all of my camera sources are just other computers. They're not really cameras, but that's why you use that Decklink. So big week for Zoom. Has anyone fielded any chat frustrations? Because I have. I met with 2 people this week that were really, really upset about not being able, about the fact that they now have to jump from one channel to another, not channel really, but you know what I mean, from one chat to another. And that it's just, you just can't keep up with it.
We had problems with the talking direct and personal. Remember we had the 4 levels, isn't it? 4 levels of talking to different people. We had a problem, couldn't get the Zoom master to take notice that they needed to change the level so we could all talk to each other privately.
Yeah.
we had to talk privately to a co-host, and of course we got away with that. So they said, "Oh no, it works fine." But of course, when we tried to talk to somebody who wasn't a co-host, we were killed off by that. So
Roland, I'm not sure it's just a change in creatures of habit. I actually think this was not fully thought through, and I think they're gonna have to add back some way to. I think they're gonna have to add a toggle.
well, you can't talk. You can't use the participants list. I'm sure. I'm sure. Please confirm for me. I am sure that you used to back in the old days. You could right click on a
No, I just did.
participants person, and you could chat to them.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
So here's my participants panel. I'm gonna. I mean, you could do more, or you could do. Oh, sorry. Let me let him in. More, or you can. I can't right click. I don't know if that's a Mac thing, but for me, it's more, and then the first option is chat, and then it opens up a new chat thing here. But
yeah, but because my setting wouldn't do that extra level, David, that wasn't available.
Oh, right.
So you just couldn't find any way to click anywhere. It's
Right.
very disconcerting.
I do again. I really do think that they're going to have to add a toggle, because this functionality I think is fantastic if you need to speak to your panelists, or if you're doing something advanced. I think it's great. But if you're just running a meeting with 30, 40, 100 people, and you just need to be able to see all the chats, this is, I think, kind of a disaster for some people.
I like the concept. It's just I don't like the way they've deployed this, because chat management has become harder now. So I don't have a problem with side chats or whatever, private chats, but just managing the chats and seeing them all, like having all these icons pop up if you have a large amount of people in your meeting who are all trying to private chat you. I don't know how to manage it. Like, it just gets cumbersome.
Right. And Roland is saying most persons just chat to everyone or the host. Absolutely. The problem is not for everyone. The problem, I think, is for the host, or the person who's trying to manage all these different people who are private messaging them.
Or if you're just popular, like even if it's,
Right.
if you're in a group with 50 people and 30 of them want to private chat you, the way the GUI, like the way the user interface is laid out, it's just what happens when they go off my screen. Like, I don't know, not that I'm that popular, but I'm just saying.
John also says he would love to be popular someday.
Wishful thinking, hey, wishful thinking. Hey, isn't that what Zoom introduced Zoom sessions for? Because it seems what you're describing is what Zoom sessions is supposed to be doing.
No, Zoom Sessions is a wrapper around a meeting or a webinar, which allows for registration. Do you get the lobby with Sessions? I don't think you do, but there's registration. There's some branding stuff. I don't know what. Frank, help me out here, or John. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you get with Sessions, but the chat experience is
It's like a slim version of Zoom events.
yeah.
Well, no, it has a backstage area as well.
Yeah,
and
that's what Zoom events
communication.
has.
Right, but this what we're talking about is not backstage. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, yes, with the fact that I can now chat to you and Frank and John, that I could create a backstage chat in Zoom so that there's one channel. Yes, in a very simplistic way, it is giving us a little bit of that. There's not a real backstage, and you can't see each other and talk to each other, but you could chat to each other now. The problem is, and again, I think that's great, and I'll use it. I will absolutely use it. I just think most people won't or don't need it. And like Roland said, I think most people chat to everyone or the hosts or someone that they need help with. And this just makes it difficult. That's all. But I love the functionality. I just think for a lot of people, it's not necessary and confusing.
The real difference is now there's private group chats that you can spawn yourself, right? But I don't have a problem with that. I think it's great. I just think the way the user interface is laid out, managing them becomes problematic when there's too many of them.
I agree. I agree.
Have you tested the sessions theory here in this room at all in the past? I mean, this is my first time here, so I don't know what you guys have done in the past, but it's there. I've seen a few of your videos on YouTube. Um, have you done that? Have you tested the sessions aspect?
So it's interesting. There was about 6 months ago, one of our very wonderful active members said, we should do this meeting in a session or in an event so that we can all try it. And we, as a sort of ZTK community, sort of said, nah, we don't want to do that. For me, at least, it was because it introduces unnecessary complexity to get people in. And I'm willing to own that perhaps I'm the cause of that complexity because I just haven't spent enough time learning about it. But I still feel like sessions and events introduces complexity that if you don't need it, ends up being more of a burden than a help.
Okay.
But that's just
I have an invested interest in learning about sessions, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so whether you know it or not, I do a weekly podcast myself, and one of the things that I've noticed as I started looking back at it at YouTube is that I seem to be a little fuzzy, and that was because I was doing it at 720, and I wanted to bring it up to 1020p. And there's a few ways to do it, all convoluted, but the easiest way was to buy a Zoom Sessions license, which is basically $100 a month. You can,
No.
but then they actually happen to have a sale.
No. Wait. Please tell me you're not paying $100 a month because you don't need to.
I'm paying more. I bought it for the year.
So
Cool. I'll give you $300 for it.
yeah, all right. So if you buy, right. So a few things. A sessions license, again, running a Zoom session is just it's a wrapper around a meeting. So I have a sessions license, a pay per attendee sessions license. I never actually use sessions. I use the license to give me access to other things like the liminal apps and things and 1080p. And as I have a business license, so I get 1080p. My understanding is that if you buy a pay per attendee sessions license, which is $100 a year, why are you saying no, John? I think you get the 1080p kick.
It's not $100 a year. I looked at it. It's $100 a month,
No.
not $100 a year.
No, that's the subscription.
You do not,
Because I couldn't find that $100 a year. I looked, and I've had long conversations with people in Zoom.
Right. So if you go to the Zoom website and you go under events and webinars, you've got webinars, you've got sessions, and you've got events. So give me a moment here to open up cursor. Oh.
If you look in the middle, it
Okay.
says Zoom Sessions, right?
Yep.
And then it
Wait a
says
second.
100 attendees.
Right. Wait a second. But the piece you're missing is this right here.
Right, monthly subscription.
If you change that to pay per attendee, that's $100 for the entire year.
You don't get 1080p. I'm pretty sure you do not get 1080p. You do not inherit 1080p by doing that.
So
What you could do is you could upgrade to a business license or a business plus license where you'll get 1080p.
Yeah,
That's an
but
option.
you can't get a lot of places. You can't get those single licenses anymore.
If you can get it in your license, yeah.
Right. So
Right.
for a while they were doing individual business licenses.
They're still doing it in the UK. I hate to tell you.
So interesting here. Look at this. Oh, I'm already on it, so that's not going to help. Wait a second.
No, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct. There are certain countries, like if viewing, then you could get that. But you're already established, so I would have to start a new account, and then I would lose everything that I've built up by going to the new account.
No, you
No.
can transfer an
You
account from one
transfer
account
over.
to another.
So actually, where I am, I'm in Florida right now. You can now get a business account for just one person. And so for $219 a year, God, that's a good deal. For $220 a year, you get a business license, you get 1080p. You have to ask them to, I think you do get it with the sessions license, but maybe I'm wrong. You get 1080p, you get Q&A in meetings, you get a number of participants up to 300 from 100. You get a lot of stuff, and that's just $300 a year. I'm sorry, $220 a year.
Okay. Just so you know,
David, before we continue, Josh from the Zoom events and Zoom sessions team at Zoom has answered you in YouTube.
Zoom Sessions elevates both the in-session experience, liminal apps, 1080, Backstage Production Studio, along with the wrapper marketing features, registration, page builder, email builder, and now... And then it stops.
Josh ran out of characters. Josh,
Right.
you left us to suspense.
But the question, Josh, is this... So I'm on a pay-per attendee sessions license, and I know that I get the liminal apps. I don't know if I get the 1080p because I have a business license, so I get it through that. I don't know if I
do. I do.
Who said that?
That was Hasmukh.
Yeah.
Wait, who said that? What?
Hasmukh, yeah.
Oh, so you're on the pay-per attendee sessions license, $100 a year, and you get 1080p.
Yep.
right. And I signed up for the 1 year plan, but they're offering a big discount. And so I took that, where I am paying approximately, I think it's $16, $16 a month. So it's going to come out to somewhere under about like $800 and change for the year, I believe. And that's what I opted to
$16 a
do.
month doesn't come out to $800 a year.
I know. What am I saying? It was, yeah. It's like
$60
$800
a month.
and $800 and something for the year.
So
It worked out to be a better deal. And I said, hey, you know, I'll do it.
You have
don't-
it now, but go ahead, Frank.
I
Sorry.
was just going to say, so one thing that maybe you're glossing over too quickly, and that's why it's not making complete sense right away, is you can sign up for pay per attendee, get all the extra functionality, and never hold a session. Just get the functionality and not hold the sessions, so you're not depleting the sessions, so they'll last for a year.
Right. Well, that's what I do. But I mean, I never run a session, so I don't even need.
Just hold a meeting if that's what you like to do.
Right. All of the functionality that comes with the sessions license applies not only to sessions, but applies to any meeting that you hold or any webinar that you hold.
Wow. So I could change it and then save myself $900.
Absolutely.
That's what I'll be doing.
Unless you want to run session. I'm not trying to jip Zoom.
Well, I
out
don't know
on customers.
enough about sessions yet.
Right.
You know, that's why I was coming in.
Look, session.
Unfortunately, right now I have a doctor's appointment that I have to go to, but I promise I will be back.
All right, come back
and I want to
anytime. You're
thank
always
you
welcome, Jen.
very much for having me in the room.
You're
All
always
right?
welcome. Come back anytime. For the rest of us who are still listening, Frank is exactly right. You can have your sessions license. If you need the functionality of sessions, if you need Backstage, if you need Production Studio, if you need the marketing features, all that, then you use sessions. If you're buying it, as I did, to get access to liminal and 1080p, then just never use sessions. You sign up, you log in, and you're done.
Well, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll do that immediately, if not sooner. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
See you later. And Josh, thank you so much for chiming in. And yeah, Frank, thank you. I should have been more clear about that.
David,
I
Josh
think you
can
were.
add a couple more things too there, by the way.
Please. Wait,
No,
Mike,
sorry. Yeah. what I was saying is that Josh also added and now the official now was AI content generation, meaning you can make content within there. And he was answering when you guys were talking, yes, PPA. So again, PPA type licensing.
And Andre's asking in the chat, in the YouTube chat, if you only use the PPA 50 to get the liminal apps and you join another meeting, will it bump that other meeting to 1080? And I believe it's only the host. It's the whoever's hosting the meeting. It's their account.
It's only you who has the login, and the account has to be exactly the same as the
Right.
app. If you have the app on a different email account, different login, then it doesn't work. It's got to be exactly the same email account.
Right.
And yeah, if you're, as you say, if you've got to be hosting the meeting, it's got to be your meeting to be 1080p for everybody. You can't join somebody else's meeting, but you can join somebody else's meeting and use the liminal apps.
Yep. Which is what I do. So my main account is not my PPA, my sessions account. I have a separate account linked to that, and because I run the liminal apps on a different machine. So fantastic. There's another big release coming up. Am I wrong about this? June 16th.
You are correct, sir.
4.5, or sorry, it was let me do that again. Sorry. It's going to be a 6.5.
6.5. What? So now we're 6.4.10, I think, right?
12.
12.
Yeah. And on Linux we are 13 or 14. I'll remember. I could check.
Let's just remember it may not show up.
Right. Been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah, Josh was just adding more in chat saying that yes, all meetings, webinar, events hosted by the license holder will be enabled for 1080.
And interestingly, I think if I remember correctly, if you get the 1080 bump by having a sessions license, you don't need to ask for it. But if you get it in a business license, you do have to ask for it. I think that was another one of the perks of going through Zoom events.
I don't think you have to ask for a business anymore.
Oh, not anymore.
No.
But you do. But there are settings that you have to change.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I think you still have to ask for Pro, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you mean ask for Pro? Oh, sorry.
When
You
you
have to ask in
Pro
the
license.
Pro. Yeah, to upgrade to 720. Right. Yeah. By the way, I used the recording feature again. And again, it was I mean it was fine, but it ended up sort of being useless because I couldn't edit the AI thing. You know, I couldn't go in and I don't know. It was unclear to me how to. I don't know. The whole thing's a little confusing. Hey, Mike, take it for 1 second. My wife is calling. I need to check in with her.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So sorry, I was just answering something on YouTube, and of course, David threw it back to me. Surprise. All right. So I'm here. All right. So yeah. So again, Josh was just saying, yep, auto enabled for Zoom events and Zoom sessions. And that was related to what you guys were talking about, which of course I don't know because I was busy chatting with everybody on YouTube. Hi, everybody on YouTube.
The benefits of getting a PPA sessions license and just continuing to hold regular meetings is that you unlock all the secret features or functionality, even if you never hold a sessions event.
Right,
Shouldn't
correct.
use the word
And
event but sessions. A session.
Yes. Yeah. The bad Zoom verbiage comes into play now, where we all get confused with a meeting and event. And event, it can be a meeting and yeah, right. And the other scenario too was that you're right, and I always bring up production studio too. So that should be, and Joshua help me on that too. That should be sessions, at least enabled as well. It should be in sessions and events. So you do have that capability too without using any of the PPAs.
I mean, the PPAs make sense if you're only going to have a limited amount of sessions, or users, and you want to pay per attendee. It might be more economical, right? Buy them as you need them, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it really depends on your needs. And of course, I've also mentioned it as well. And our sales rep that is specific with our account at Zoom always says, Mike, make sure to let them know that you might get a better deal if you actually talk to us,
Sure.
not just
Sessions,
buy off of the website.
the subscription sessions make sense if you're doing a lot of, let's say, corporate outreach or something, and you're having five of them a day or 2 every day, 5 days a week. You'd go through your PPA pretty fast. So having unlimited would be good for people who need that. It's just if you don't need that, it's sort of a backdoor to unlock a bunch of extra functionality, even if you never intend on having a session.
Yeah,
For now, who knows if Zoom will ever take that away,
And yeah, exactly. Yeah, right on, Frank. And it is, and again, it really depends on your needs. If you're doing a lot of events that are majority corporate based, would be more my thought, because that's where the differences of sessions versus events versus PPA versus having just an unlimited license of X amount of attendees being able to come in will weigh different things. And of course, if Ray was here, he would be able to go, Mike, it's this with that and that with this when it comes to the different PPA and the different licensing. But hi, Ray, if you're watching us on YouTube, I'm not sure if you're watching us or not, but and of course, Josh is watching us, and thanks for the feedback, Josh. Appreciate it.
I think of PPA sort of pay as you go, right? Whereas
That's right.
the other one, it's like a, full plan or something.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and again, the PPA would be equivalent to, if you're going to your favorite show, should it be a theater show or a concert, you actually have a ticket, right? And this is where the PPA ticketing scenario comes into play, where you could then buy a bulk of X amount of tickets for that session, or use up the amount of PPAs that you ended up getting at a minimum, which I believe is now, did we say it was 50?
Yeah,
Is that the minimum PPA now?
yeah. But you can't say
So-
ticket because Zoom events have tickets. Say coupons.
Right.
Zoom's used
Yes.
up all the regular nouns and verbs. It's hard to talk like a normal person about Zoom.
That's true. That's true. Yes, John, and now we're actually having that. Was that not this week, John, that we're talking about coupons? I need coupons. What was that? I know there was a feature through the,
Yes,
was that
I
through
need
the-
API coupons.
That's right. That's it. That was the conversation.
Otherwise, nobody who's developing apps can put coupons into their Zoom events.
Right. Right. Exactly. All right. And I see our fearless leader has come back. Back to you,
Stop with that.
Mr. David.
Stop with
You
that.
gotta do the segues, Dave. Like you caught me off guard there. I was chatting with people on YouTube. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hi.
Well,
That's
I
right.
thought maybe something had happened with my dog, so I was checking.
All right. No, understood.
All right. I don't want to push this into the release notes unless that's where we want to go. I mean, I am so excited that we're finally getting rid of the video from Zoom Video Communications Inc. That's a big change. Effective November 25th, 2024. But somehow it's taking until now? Updating Zoom's
We should have a
legal-
watch party. We'll all stay up till midnight, and when it switches over, we'll all be awake and open champagne and stuff. It'll be exciting.
Everybody
Just
do
keep
your react
refreshing your
sound.
browser till
Here
it
we go.
changes.
Hey, there-
The certificate update ensures compliance with Zoom's new legal entity name while maintaining security standards across all platforms. What else is there here? Customer managed key encryption. Is that something that's important, Frank? Do you know? Account
Yeah, of
admin
course,
can-
it's important for people who need it. You know, if you're
What-
doing legal things or medical things or government things or you have privacy concerns, and then encryption is very important. And Zoom makes it possible to host your own encryption keys. So yeah, it's important for that segment of their consumer base.
CMK encryption helps ensure sensitive content is encrypted using organization-controlled keys and aligns with advanced in-meeting content 2.0 standards. Admins can manage key settings through their existing key management services. Okay. So now in meeting, generation of meeting agenda and live notes with AI companion. Now, I felt like I saw this before, but maybe this is one of those things that they announced and then it didn't happen. So we've got meeting hosts can generate meeting agendas and capture live notes with the help of AI Companion. When scheduling a meeting, the host can generate an agenda using AI Companion. I thought we could do that now, which actively provides suggestions and updates throughout the meeting. During the meeting, AI Companion helps the host maintain and update the agenda in real time. And the host can grant participants edit access to adjust it based on ongoing discussions. You can also turn on live notes during the meeting, where AI Companion creates a real-time meeting summary that participants can view during and after the meeting. Live notes can also be adjusted during and after the meeting. So, and then they all become Zoom docs. The live notes I haven't seen yet, but the agenda I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere.
Yeah. There's an agenda template in Zoom Docs. That's probably where you saw it.
No, I thought it was when you were creating a meeting. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me go to home. Schedule. Okay, we'll call it ZTK. And let's do this just because that always makes it hard. Add docs, whiteboard. Maybe I'm wrong.
If you go to the what's it called?
Ooh,
AI Studio,
Yeah.
you know, there's AI meeting summary templates, right?
Yeah, that's what I just found here.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, okay. So
yeah, so
yeah.
here in the meeting, and this is new, it says you can now select a summary template based on different meeting types. And when you click in here, you've got general template, recap and next steps, one-on-one recap of every topic, stand up, quick team updates, brainstorm every idea proposed, project update, progress and next steps, discussion, key points overview, Q&A, questions and answers, customer success feedback, and next steps.
So I haven't delved super deeply into this, but you can also customize them or make your own, I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what I read.
Oh, and look at this. You can get on the, if there's a little eyeball over here, and if you click on, if don't click on it, but if you hover over it, you can see what they all look like. Huh. Well, this is kind of nice. So you're saying if I go over to, where is it?
AI Studio, I think it's called.
Is that going to be in here somewhere?
Should be in account, like the account admin section. I don't know about, like, I know Enterprise has it. Again, I don't know for sure that you have it, but
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Yeah. AI Studio, right? It's under my head. There it is. AI Studio. So there's knowledge, custom meeting templates. Let me move my fed, or actually I'll just turn it off. So there's knowledge and then custom meeting templates. Let's see what this pulls up. General template, one-on-one. Yeah, here they are. So these are all the templates. Oh, this is nice. You can see it here nicely. Stand up, quick team updates. I'd like to be able to select this from in the meeting. Again, I know that most people.
maybe that's coming. Who knows, right?
Oh, and there's also lecture summary.
Yeah, that's one I was looking at.
Wow. So if you're in a Zoom class.
I just have like there's concerns. Some people are not going to be happy about this, right?
Well, but only the host can.
I understand. I'm just saying it depends how it's deployed, right?
Yeah. And then you can create one from scratch. Oh, and it's going to use AI. So um, I need a template that recounts a meeting of the Zoom test kitchen as we dive deep into the functionality and updates from Zoom. Let's see what it does. I'm not sure if that's
Yeah, but you didn't give it any sort of guidance about the formatting that you want.
I know that I want to see if it can figure it out on its own. It's AI, it's artificial intelligence. It doesn't need my intelligence. Let's see what it does. Okay, Zoom spec, a comprehensive meeting summary for Zoom feature testing and updates review. Attendance, feature updates, new Zoom features and functionality updates discussed, testing results, summary of test outcomes, bugs identified, performance issues, action items, list of tests. This is more about if you're building an app, but okay. Okay. Nice. So there it is. And now presumably when I go back up here and I schedule a new meeting, that will show up. No. Change default summary temp. No, that's over here. Okay, so where's the one that I just made? AI Studio. Custom meeting.
Would it be not in the account management, but your personal?
Well, I made it available to the entire.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, but it says draft. I wonder if that's, so do I have to click test? No. Understanding transcript. Okay. I'm not sure what this is doing now. It's testing on something that doesn't exist.
It's testing on this meeting.
No, it's not. This isn't in this meeting. This is just a web browser on another computer.
Oh, so it's left the internet and it's gone to find a meeting to test it on.
I don't know what it's actually testing on, but okay. Save. I'm just trying to figure out how to actually make it available. Okay. John Smith, David Brown. Here we go. All right, fine. So it did. Oh, that's interesting. You have to test it and then you get a publish button. Now that I publish it, people can use this. Okay. I'm not actually going to do that because it's not a real thing, but okay. How do I delete this? I don't want this here. Delete. Well, there you go. And now you know. The more you know. All right. So we don't really have. What did we say it was before? We don't really have agendas, I guess. But I love the host can also turn on live notes during the meeting. I like that. I
Well,
wonder how
agendas don't come out till Monday, supposedly, right?
right.
So looking for it now is pointless.
How is live? No, but I had thought I'd seen.
Oh, okay.
How is live notes going to be different than AI companion? What do you call it? The summary thing that we get. Is it just that it's happening during the meeting also? It does say that you can adjust them during and after the meeting, so that's a plus. Because now it sounds like you'll be able to. It'll just put them, unlike what we get now with the AI companion summary, companion AI. Sorry. Unlike what we get now, which is not editable, it sounds like it'll just be a Zoom doc that you can edit. So I'll take that. That's a nice thing. The host can turn on live notes during the meeting where AI companion creates a real-time meeting summary that participants can view during and after the like. Also, we adjusted during it. Yeah. Okay. Far end audio control for participants. No, we've had this. Right?
Yes, and it's not worked well.
We have far end camera control.
Oh, wait. No, we have foreign, but I've been able to control someone's, or is that
That's
an app?
that's remote audio, isn't it?
Yeah, that's remote audio. So what is this? This is interesting.
So far end, if it works the way far end camera control works, far end camera control's main reason for existence is people with disabilities like motor skill disabilities may not be able to operate their keyboard or their mouse easily or efficiently. It gives a trusted person on the other side of the Zoom call the ability to turn on the camera, turn off the camera, make some camera adjustments. I'm assuming, but I don't know for sure, that this would have similar feature set based on audio, so they'd be able to help you adjust your audio. But I mean, it translates to functionality for just normal people. Let's say you're helping grandma or someone who's bad with technology, or grandpa or whoever. If they trust you, then you could go into theirs. They just don't know how Zoom works that well. You could go in and make all the appropriate adjustments for them. Does that make any kind of sense?
Oh, sorry. Where's remote audio control? Like, where is that?
Hold on. I think it's in apps, isn't it?
Forgotten. Request host.
There's remote settings control. Remotes control. Monitor the
Absence, breakout room, stocks, notes, whiteboard, live stream. I don't even see it. Huh.
It gets confusing. There's remote settings control. There's remote support, which allows you to take control of someone's mouse on their computer. There's far end camera control. And there's one other one too. They're all similar but different.
I don't.
And there's remote support. Or I already said that one, right? Remote support.
But so screen control, being able to control someone's screen, that happens through screen share, I believe. Right? But I can't find where the camera or the audio video settings, no. Audio. Yeah, jump in. Hey, Muddy.
I know for camera control, it's under the individual person, right? So you would click on the three dots on the individual person and request camera control.
Oh, yes.
Far end camera control also, if your camera has PTZ capabilities, it will allow you to do stuff like that, like reframe for the other person.
Yeah, the other one, where the heck is it? Where's apps? The remote settings is an app, is a Zoom app. So here is, yeah, it's just hard to keep track of all this stuff. So here is the remote request remote control. And when you do this, if it's okay, Mike, can I just request it of you, just so we can see?
Yeah, sure.
So I sent him an invite, and as soon as he approves it, I'll get his sound
Nothing
stuff.
yet.
Yeah.
Now I am co-host, so I don't know if that's a good choice or not.
So you click. There are a couple things you have to click, I think.
Okay. I'm not seeing any pop-ups anywhere.
I think all right. Let me cancel that, and I'll send it to you again. Ready?
Yeah.
So I have something that says I invited Mike Lotta. I think it opens the app, and then you have to like say yes again or something.
Oh, in the actual app itself. Let me double check and make sure I've got that.
You shouldn't need it installed. It should just open up.
Yeah, I do see remote settings control we're playing with, right? Yeah,
Yep.
I do have that one already here. Oh, there it is. I had to open the app and now I see it where it says Dave Paskin is requesting remote control of your Zoom audio and video. Okay, here we go. Now accept.
Okay. So now I can see for Mike, if I click on him, I can see what camera he's. So I wonder how this will be different. What I can't do in here is, which you will be able to do with far end audio controls. Far end audio control allows you to control another person's microphone levels, speaker volume, and mute status. Over here, I can control their video settings and what well, yeah, you can do the same thing here. The only thing I can't do here is their volume. I can change, I'm not going to, but you can change the microphone, you can change the speaker, you can change their audio profile, and you can change their noise suppression. You have no control over their volume. So it looks to me like that's the only thing that's really new here. And it won't be an app. It'll just be built in somehow to the Zoom.
That's right. I think that's going to be a main distinction is you don't have to load up a separate remote settings app. You'll just be able to, click the three dots over their video and request audio control. And I think really the biggest value from my perspective is being able to adjust someone else's microphone.
We missed the last part of that. Mike, say it one more time. The biggest benefit is to do what?
Control their microphone levels.
Yeah.
Right. Increase their mic level.
Which is the one thing that we can't do right now. Does anyone know, is remote settings, that's a Zoom built that, right? Like that's a Zoom. Does anyone know? I don't know if there's a way.
Yes, it is. It's a Zoom app.
Okay. All right, good. So I guess this is, and they've talked about this, Andy's talked about this before, that sometimes they'll put something into an app to see how it plays, see how it works, and then move it into the Zoom app itself. It's a little confusing, but not a marketplace app into the actual Zoom app. So both people will have to accept it. But there is an auto accept. If you add trusted contacts to your audio control group,
you can also revoke you can give it to someone, and then if circumstances change, you can revoke their trusted status.
But if you work with someone regularly and they want you to have this kind of, be able to offer them this kind of support, you add them to your list and you're good to go.
And if it's in Zoom rooms, then if you're running remote Zoom rooms, you've got the ability to play around with that, and the people in the room don't have to have such a level of understanding. So that's good.
Yep.
David, I just wanted to let you know in chat, it did actually ask me to open up the remote. If you see in chat, I did a little screen capture there of what I saw in chat. But again, because it wasn't at the very bottom of the new chat, I didn't see it.
Oh, wait, that's interesting. Hold on. Okay, that's really interesting. So this is a prompt. Here, I'll bring it up here. So this is a prompt that you got. This is our chat here. And you got, I have to bring it forward, sorry. And you got this prompt in your chat. So, and it was a direct message. So if you were in the main chat, what happened is you saw just up at the top, hey, you got a private chat from David, and with a little 1 in a red 1 showing you that I had sent you a message. Is that correct?
It actually left it in the main chat. It did not make it a private tab.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
as compared to when I did do my raise hand, and you've got your scripting for OSC, where it lets me know that I'm next up. It's actually sending that into TTG as a private tab.
Okay, so a Zoom from an app from the Zoom Marketplace, when it sends you a private message, goes into the main chat. That's fascinating, actually. I mean,
And again, because I wasn't at the very bottom, there were other chats that happened after that,
yeah,
and it gave me the new button.
so you missed
Until
it.
I clicked the new button, I didn't even see that you did that. That's why I had to go in.
Yeah.
I went into the app knowing that you were talking about the app because I have the app installed. So that's how I got around so we could do the demo.
That's
But
right.
I should have saw that as long as but if the chat was busy, if busier than our chat right now,
Yeah.
then I would have missed that. It would have just flown right by.
Yeah. Frank, go ahead.
I have some trivia or something. I have read, I haven't tested it, but I have read that if you go into a breakout room, the old chat system is still in effect.
Ooh,
It doesn't have all this new stuff.
I bet that's all right. Here we go. Breakout rooms. Let me create. I'll just make one. I'll let participants choose room and open all rooms. Okay, I have a room open. Whoever would like to go experiment and see, I'll stay here and hold on the fort. That's a great, I completely forgot about chat in breakout rooms. It's really interesting. Someone else does.
I'll go in with Frank. I'll be back.
Can't talk to himself. Wow, fascinating. You don't think about, you introduce a whole new chat experience and you forget about, oh great, everyone left me here. It's me and Muddy who doesn't have his camera on, and Muddy left also. All right, it's just me. You don't think about things like Zoom Marketplace apps that that trigger automatic messages when you're inviting someone to something, or what he was mentioning before. The message that he got from me was from. Let me pull this up for you. It's I have a trigger over here in Zoom OSC that what happens is when something becomes true. So when gallery position 1 has a hand raised, which incidentally is always the case because when you raise your hand, you always jump to position number 1. So when there's a hand raised, when Zoom OSC sees a hand raised in gallery position 1, by the way, I have to absolutely give full credit to Jeff for this. Jeff Woodgren, he created this and taught me how to do it. Then what happens is position 1 is automatically selected. There's a little delay. And then a chat message via DM is sent to them saying, hey, you're up next. Be ready to unmute your microphone. So what that means is that I can, I'm ready to spotlight them if I want, and they get a message letting them know that this is happening. So
I would like to nominate
friends.
Frank.
No. You don't get to talk because
I would like to nominate
person
Frank.
left me. I was here all by myself. I had to carry.
It's worth it.
the
I promise
weight
you. It's
of
worth it.
All right. So what did you discover?
I'll leave it to Frank.
Oh, geez. No, it's true. It still uses the old conventional way of doing things.
So the workaround.
The main chat from the main room followed us into the breakout room, and then we were able to use the traditional way that you would have private chats and public chats. But there's no private group chats in breakout rooms the way there is in the main room.
So if you're really frustrated by this new chat experience, start a meeting
until they
in a
update it.
breakout room. No, and hold your meeting in a breakout room, and then you
Yeah.
have the whole track
Until they modernize it.
right.
Yeah.
And your direct messages stay in the main chat as well.
Yeah, as you
Like-
saw, David, you're probably wondering why I typed in 4 times. You might want to show everybody on YouTube what I'm talking about here.
I did. I wasn't paying attention because I was alone, and I had to wait. What did I don't see
It's a
anything.
good time for you to vape.
Oh, sorry. I do see one message, personal message from breakout rooms. That's all I see, though.
Oh, okay.
Right. So this is what has come up on my I've got personal message from breakout rooms. John wrote, and the direct messages stay in the main chat. And then Jason writes, yes, I see the messages I sent to John and Frank and the message I received from Mike. So but what messages did you think, Mike, I was going to see?
Yeah. So basically what ended up happening is I ended up sending everybody a personal message. I just did a quick cut and paste I basically said personal message from breakout rooms so that each one of us could actually see how it would look when it came back, when we came out of the breakout room. And right now it's all in main chat. It did not go to our groups. It did not go to any tabs. It stayed in main chat. And now it's got the brackets where in the old school, it says direct message.
I understand. So mine doesn't, for what it's worth. For mine, if you look, Mike Latta, personal message from breakout room, I have no indication other than the fact that you wrote personal message that was a DM. It is in my main chat. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah. And notice it didn't go into a specific tab of you and I, which it should have. If I was here, it would have. If I was in the main meeting, it would have. Right. But in the breakout room, it did not.
Right, because breakout room is old. Right, it's the old, yeah.
Right.
Well, there you go. Interesting. Now, can you all see? Can anyone? This is going to be. So I have personal message from breakout room, from Mike to me.
Yeah.
Now that's in my main chat, but none of the rest of you can see that message that Mike sent me, right?
I can.
Well, but I think he sent you one also.
No, I can see Mike. Personal message from breakout room is separate to the personal direct messages that he sent me. So I've got a Mike direct message, personal message from breakout room, and then I've got a Mike normal message, personal message from breakout rooms.
Yeah, I just did a cut and paste. I should have made it maybe a little different of words, but it was just quicker that way.
Basically, David, what it is every user's chat history in the breakout room follows them back into the main room. Now, what Mike sees is different than what I see because we were direct messaging different people. And what John sees is different than what I see. John may have received 3 messages. I may have received only 1, as an example. But all of that chat panel history that was in the breakout room got sucked over into the main room and dropped into the main chat.
Right. So all our tabs now of the individual conversations that we have in tabs in the main meeting room all went right into the main chat now because there is no main chat anymore when you're in breakout rooms. That tab even goes away. All the tabs at the top go away, like the way it used to be.
Right. When you're going from the main room, which has the tabbed chat, into the breakout room, all of that history from the main room goes into the breakout room in only that one panel because there are no tabbed chats in the breakout room. Then as you continue to add chats using the old familiar chat panel and direct messaging, then all of that, when you leave the breakout room and come back into the main room, all of that history gets brought back into the main room and dropped into the tab that says main chat.
That's really confusing. I
tried to explain it as clearly and easily as possible.
No, you did great. It's not you. It's just that's quite convoluted.
Well, it's funny because we're calling it the old chat experience. It was not that long ago that was called the new chat experience. Because, having threads where you can reply and add emojis, that's relatively new. So, and if you remember, there was a major problem when that rolled out is that when you went into a breakout room, your chat history disappeared. And when you came back from chat into the main room, your chat history disappeared. It was there if you saved the chat, but it was no longer visible in the chat. That was just kind of a temporary issue. I mean, it lasted for a couple of months until they got it figured out, but that was an issue that happened when they rolled this out. So I think we're again kind of in this limbo period where there is this new tabbed chat experience that, hasn't made it to breakout rooms yet. And I imagine if you did a DM now that we're back in the main session, it would show up under the tab.
Well, so you can't. That's the only way that you can do it in the new experience, right? The only way you can do it, because you actually can't type to another person in the main room. You have to click.
Yeah, you can't select them, right?
Right, and then you have to select them up there, and then you're automatically thrown into a separate chat.
Yeah, if I try and reply to one of the direct messages I got from Mike in the breakout room, it just says, great big yellow box, you cannot interact with these messages from the current chat.
Ah.
I'm quite impressed, because considering they've got two separate systems working simultaneously, they've managed to make it keep going without crashing.
But it's close. It's very close. It's almost crashing, but it's not there. Go for it, Frank.
So, let's say 2 years ago or something, there was chat. Then what we had up to about a week ago started. And they were calling the original chat classic chat. They were calling this chat the new chat experience, and now we have tab chat, or whatever they want to call it. But when they introduced the new chat experience a year and a half, whatever ago, one of my contacts at Zoom told me eventually classic chat would be phased out. And I know a lot of people prefer classic chat. I don't, but you can, if your admin allows you to use classic chat, you have a choice between classic chat or the new chat experience. I just wonder if this signals that the classic chat will eventually, pretty soon, be phased out. I have no knowledge of that, but I can't see them keeping 3 chat systems going at the same time.
I think that's fair, Frank, what you're talking about. I think that's fair that it might disappear. Now, David, I just did an experiment with you. I know you're fixing our audio meters. Yeah, but I did an experiment with you, and I sent you an @ David Paskin in the main chat, and I actually did a one that actually should have popped up into your tab. And I'm just curious if you did see both in the tab, or if you saw one in the main chat, one in the tab, like I did.
All right. So, sorry. All right, I got that going. So you did @ David Paskin but
we all saw that one in the main chat.
Right.
It just calls out David. It's not private to him, but it just tags him essentially.
Yeah. So I see. Right. That's exactly right. But it's interesting. So what does tagging mean anymore? Right. What does it mean when you tag me? Because I didn't get any special notification that I was tagged, other than I see my name there in blue. But if I'm not, I didn't get a ding or a dong or a diddle or anything, like I do if it's a private chat. So that's an interesting question, right? What's the point of adding someone now?
I'm putting my software hat on again. The chat text that you save is still the original old format, with, of course, the difference being that if you receive direct messages, they'll be in your copy of your chat, and if somebody else received direct messages, they'll be in their copy of their chat. But the format of the original text, which is just linear based on time when all the comments appear, is still that format.
And John, I'll take that one step further. It's not delimiting anyway. I'm using that delimiting word usefully, but not usefully, to tell you that this was part of a private chat, or how is it designating it? Any different than it used to?
Yeah, it's no different. It still has direct message against those particular entries, so it's a direct message.
So no different than what we used to see before in brackets. Is that the way it does it in the text? I don't do that often.
Yeah.
For now. Changes are coming on Monday. I don't know what will happen on Monday, but
Yeah,
It is a new, again, it is important to remember that it is a dot new number. It's not a, main dot number dot, sub number. So it is going to be a bigger change than a fix per se.
I think this is discussed slightly a little bit more in the release notes.
yeah.
It's going to be an at yourself a function to make timestamps or something.
I just want to point out that we've now spent almost an entire 2 weeks talking about the new chat thing and how it's a little convoluted.
I'm really hoping there's refinements before September because this is going to be crazy.
For school, yes. Yeah. All right. So I'm back to the thing now. So we've got capture live notes, far into audio control, emojis. The emoji reactions will be displayed more prominently across the meeting screen. Mike, you're the emoji man. You always have emojis that you do. I never do emojis. Show me some. Make emojis.
Show you some. What kind of ones do
I
you?
don't know, the current emojis. Oh, there we go. John just did some. There we go. So they're going to be more prominent than that? Okay.
Okay, I need to update my hand-raising app to kick people who use too many emojis.
Yeah. Instead of being confined to individual... Oh.
Flood control.
Listen to this. When multiple participants use the same emoji simultaneously, special effects appear to create a shared experience. Additionally, the emoji reactions will automatically disappear more quickly to improve the user experience. So if you say, can I, everyone, give me a thumbs up or whatever, if everyone does the thumbs up, then it's going to not just be in your screens. It's going to be something in the
probably cover. It might actually cover the whole gallery or something.
Right.
So make sure, kids, you've got your Stream Deck at the ready.
That's right. Exactly. That's actually nice. I like that because that's all about building community and creating that shared experience. It's not just one person. That's kind of cool, actually.
Okay, and I just ran into another annoyance of I've got so many private chats going on with everybody specifically then in all our testing now that it's only holding for me the way my layout is with 6 tabs, and now I have a triple box now for all my extra private ones. So now I don't have a visual now on if other ones.
Wait, what do you mean a triple box? What does that mean?
Screenshot.
Or
screenshot.
Yeah, timeout. I'll do a screenshot. I'll be right back.
All right, yeah, because I want to see that. Users can access improved language detection. Oh, this is. I always get this, even when I'm not even when I'm speaking English, and I always get to think this is. Are you speaking Hebrew? Maybe it just doesn't understand me, or I have an Israeli accent or something. Detection and specification capabilities for captions and transcripts in Zoom meetings, and let's look at the screenshot that we've got here. Hold on. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. All right, so here is the screenshot. So you've got just the more button.
Yeah, and then those are the additional private message tabs.
Yeah, I see the Roland Booth and Jason +2.
Right.
So you can't even scroll right to left.
Right, and on top of that too, if any of their new messages in those other two, it goes above the more button and just says there's one, but it could be that could say 5, and there could be separated into all the individual tabs because it just counts it up.
It's just not elegant.
Yeah. Okay. We've established that. Ultrasonic proximity sharing.
Wait. Captions. Come on now.
I just got excited by ultrasonic proximity.
I could see why.
Users can customize caption settings with a new default mode. Drag captions outside the meeting window.
That's huge.
That's nice.
You used to be able to drag them around on your screen, but if you could get them out, that would be
wow.
great.
I wonder what that's going to look like. That's fascinating.
I have a feeling it's going to look like the sign language interpreters box. You know how it spawns it, you could resize it and move it all around your desktop? That's my guess.
Wow. These enhancements can enable clearer communication and multilingual meetings and improve accessibility for all participants. Oh, how interesting. So I wonder the captions will, I wonder if I mean, they'll pop out in a box, right? You can't just pop out the captions themselves.
Yeah, right now the captions, you can drag it within the confines of the gallery, like of the app.
But they're not in a box. They just are sort of on the screen, right?
Yeah, but they are actually in a box because you can drag them and resize them and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of an invisible box, but
Gotcha.
There's some set of boundaries. Now it sounds like you'll be able to pull it out.
Yeah, like you can pop out almost everything. But the
right.
phone, I found the phone you can pop out, meeting chat, AI companion, you can pop out a lot of them now. And they're all individual browsers for those that wanted to know.
Are they really?
Yep.
Are they Chromium?
Yeah, that's the technical word I've been told by Mike to use, yes.
Really?
That is correct. Yes, they are Chromium based.
Wait, they're not each, are they each a separate window or are they each a separate browser instance?
They are a separate browser instance. Your video box that you're in is a separate browser instance.
And
which for those developers who keep trying to do it, you can't. Well, no, on your video box that you're in now.
Yeah.
That is a browser. That is a browser. That is defined as a browser instance inside Zoom.
But I thought you said every pop out is its own browser instance. So
well, I have the developers. I have a developers. It's not on this machine, so I can't do this. On my other machine, I have a developer set up, and quite a lot of the boxes I can right click to go into developer mode, and I can interrogate them like they are a browser.
Oh, I can't on these.
You have to put special settings into your Zoom to allow it to happen.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
But
Frank,
from a practical standpoint, they're separate floating windows.
Right.
Yeah. If you go into your you go and have a look at all the apps that are running on your computer. Control Alt Delete apps thing for Windows, whatever it is for Mac. You can actually see them all listed as little separate little browser entries in the apps. So Zoom is a family of little programs all running together, talking to each other.
Very modular.
Zoom meeting.
Ooh, big word for the day. Modular.
No. Word for the day is ultrasonic proximity.
That's very modular. Okay.
Account owners and admins can control ultrasonic proximity settings for direct sharing and pairing separately from Zoom Room settings. The new setting is available under Settings, General tab, and the Other section. So when enabled, users can share screens, start meetings, switch meetings in progress, open whiteboards, send phone calls from their devices to Zoom Rooms without entering meeting IDs or sharing keys. Oh, that's actually really nice. It's enabled by default for new accounts to maintain existing functionality. I'm not sure I'm entirely following this. So
what happens is when you go into a Zoom room, typically in a corporate environment, there's boardrooms and stuff that are designated as Zoom rooms, and they have commercial grade AV equipment. There's an ultrasonic sound, like a super high pitch frequency, that's being emitted by the Zoom computer or speakers, whatever, and your other devices, laptops, phones, can register that, and they communicate through that ultrasonic pairing and sharing. And before, there were times where you would have to enter a code or something on your iPad or your whatever to pair and share. But now I guess the ultrasonic will do even more of that for you.
And before David asks, the official answer is no, not even dogs can hear it. Okay.
Is that true?
I would say.
I can hear it.
You could explain.
It's wait, what was the word?
Ultrasonic
Ultrasonic.
Your word.
is very modular.
Modular. So it's hard to describe. Efficiency mode for Windows devices.
That's very
I
modular.
really want to like not be mean to Windows users, but this makes me laugh in a way.
Why does it make you laugh?
Because the poor little Windows machines can't keep up, so they have to turn them down a bit.
Users with lower end Windows machines can enable efficiency mode to optimize their Zoom experience. It turns hardware acceleration on for sending and receiving video, limits the max send and receive and capture to 360, 30 frames per second, limits max share send and capture to 1080p 5 frames per second, limit max share receive to 5 frames per second, disables video share, meaning the optimized for video clip. It helps ensure.
So that means I can use my $100 laptop again.
Yeah.
At 5
Cool.
frames a second, that'll be fun to watch.
You'll have reliable audio, stable video, smoother content sharing. Auto call. This is kind of a big one too. So this is auto call for Zoom meetings feature helps meeting attendees who opt in to avoid missing important meetings by automatically receiving a call when the meeting begins. I kind of like this actually. It applies regardless of whether the host has enabled the feature for that meeting. Ooh, that's interesting. Or if it's for an external meeting. So it's user defined. It's not, has nothing to do with the host. So I, as a teacher, can't make sure that my students all get.
Oh, there would be so many complaints.
And you can select automatically receive a call when a scheduled meeting starts.
I really wonder if this ties into any kind of I'm away feature, or what if you're on holidays and there's a meeting that's going to take place and you're not going to join because you're, in the Bahamas or something, and you start getting phone calls. Hey, come on, join the meeting.
Yeah. There needs to be an easy way to kind of toggle it on or off, or set a schedule maybe. Yeah. Although presumably, if this is only going to work for a meeting that you're personally invited to.
Yeah, I would think so. And you have to opt in, I'm assuming, as well, right?
And you have to opt in. So, yeah, just tell your boss not to invite you when you're.
I want to try it once, but I don't think it's something I would keep on. But I want to hear it one time.
David, don't forget that in the actual profile itself, you can actually say when you're on vacation.
Right. Yeah. But I think Frank's question is, will it honor that? Will it pay attention to that?
We only hope.
Will it use your avatar voice to call you so you can sound like it's you calling yourself from the future?
Allow in-meeting questions with AI Companion to be archived. Okay. If you archive something, I guess your AI Companion questions were not.
If you're the kind of business that has an archiving system integrated with Zoom, then this will work. If you don't have that, I don't think you're going to be taking advantage of this.
Rename voice recordings. I wonder if that's the tool that I've been using.
I think so, yes. I think that's what it's talking about.
The meeting account
Zoom voice recorder or whatever they call it.
Better organize and locate their voice recordings. Okay. And enhancements to video optimization in multi-share. So users can enable the optimize for video setting when sharing screens with multi-share enabled. Allows participants to share video content with higher fidelity while using multiple shares simultaneously. The optimized video option previously locked when multi-share was active. So this is when multiple people are sharing. Yes? When multiple participants are sharing a window, I didn't realize this, you could not, any of those people could not select optimize for video. but now you will be able to. I didn't even know you couldn't. That's fascinating. Okay. Host, co-host option to dismiss questions answered by panelists. As I marked answer live.
I can see that being more useful.
Yeah, but what could they do before? I'm a little confused. What's the change?
You could get lazy and you just choose answer live and then you forget to actually answer it live. Because when somebody asks a question, you're supposed to give them an answer or say, I'm going to answer it live. And I don't think people use it always the right way. And you can end up with answer live questions that are never actually addressed. So this looks like
Actually,
it's helping to clean it up.
Right, but I think the change here is that now maybe it's that co-hosts can now dismiss questions also.
Yeah. Well, when you're answering questions, it's sometimes difficult to go through the questions, answer the questions, and then remember to tick off the questions and all that. So that's nice that they're sharing the workload.
Yep. Team chat. Okay. Links section, instant meeting support. Oh, this is actually a big one. Import tool to support full migration from Slack to Zoom team chat. This is actually a really potentially a big one.
Shots fired.
Yeah, we're in Slack. And so up to 1 gigabyte, you can just move everything right over. Wow. I wonder what it'll look like. You know, I presume it'll bring over all your channels and wow. Yeah, that is definitely a shot fired. Fascinating. Fascinating. It's about time for a callback. WebEx had this more than 10 years ago. What did they have?
Over to you, Jason.
You could enable when you started a meeting to call the people that were scheduled to participate in the meeting.
Oh. Gotcha.
And then on your phone it would show up as WebEx and the main 800 number.
It makes a lot of sense. I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, I mean, where I would use it as a producer is all of a sudden when one of my panelists drops off, their internet craps out or whatever, and then I could just reach over there, one button, boom, their phone would ring, they'd pick it up and continue on.
Yeah.
Well, Zoom has Zoom phone. I wonder if your Zoom phone will ring if you're supposed to be at a meeting.
Oh, it's interesting if those will integrate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's just notifications, so they're already halfway there. So it probably might be some sort of integration with that. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, because right now, if one of my panelists drops off, I have to, manually trigger to call them, or they have to call in. So they open up the invite on their phone, and then they choose the call in option, and so that they're doing their audio through their mobile. What am I trying to say? Their cell data instead of through Wi-Fi. So it takes a little bit longer for them to get reconnected versus being able, like I said, to reach over there, push one button, call them, and then the audio automatically switched over as soon as they picked up the phone.
Right. Okay. Good to know. Okay. So just wanted for the panelists that are on with me, do we need breakout rooms still open? I just wanted to find out before, and now I can close them down because they're still open. Did we want to do any further breakout room testing? No, everybody's doing this. Okay. All right. Closing those rooms down. Just doing a little cleanup. There we go. All right. Cool. All right. So, as you know, it is that time that we usually say for us in the Zoom Test Kitchen to say it is question and answer time. If you have any questions and answers from the YouTube audience that are still watching us, let us know in chat. And we've got Jason here, and I've definitely got Windows questions for Jason coming up here shortly. So let us know in YouTube chat, and I'll relay it back to everybody here on the team. So Jason, over to you. Again, there's been some picking on Windows here today, but that's okay. I love Frank. But that's all right. So have the Windows woes disappeared? And I already probably know the answer is probably not. But go for it, Jason.
They have, but there's indication that there may be some more changes coming along the way. So the tea leaves are reading fixed one problem, stand by for others to pop up. They're continuing to change APIs. There was a major push earlier this week. It was Tuesday, right? So the patches came out. So we're still in the middle of testing those on our test machines to see what broke. Yeah, and then as far as that power efficiency management mode in Windows, it allows for the cheaper laptops to come back into the environment at a compromise. But that Windows efficiency mode, there is competing software that controls that. So yes, there are settings in Windows that change that. Yes, there are settings if you have something like Norton for Symantec performance manager on there. They're not the only one. McAfee has it, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got little add-ons from your manufacturer. So Dell and HP also tickle those settings, and they can compete and conflict with each other.
As good partners do of Dell and HP to modify the OS where they see fit. Just like in the Android world too, where the Samsungs and such will modify stuff as well.
And then try to get the correct drivers, right? Because then that always throws things out of kilter.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
Oh, I was just going to say, if Zoom is thinking strategically, and I'm sure they always are, Zoom has its 9-month software lifespan cycle. You have to be within 9 months of the current releases, right? If Zoom introduces new hardware or software requirements and you don't meet them, you need a different computer. This probably creates a lot of animosity from organizations that don't have the budget for that. By introducing this new high whatever efficiency mode, whatever they're calling it, it means that people can keep using their old equipment, but it stops Zoom from being constrained from going forward too fast. So maybe we'll see new functionality in Zoom coming out at a more rapid pace without, the problem of corporations or big technological investments getting left behind. So it seems like a smart strategy.
Right. And actually, as you're mentioning that, Frank, I'm actually going to pull up what the latest software quarterly life cycle policy is. So just give me a second.
That's the long, convoluted word I was looking for.
Exactly. So, all right.
I think they're actually skipping one this summer. It was.
Yes, they are. That was the other thing I did notice that did come out earlier. So the next enforcement, all right, let me just cut over to, here we go. All right, so the next enforcement was supposed to be August 2nd. But as you see, this is this.
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, I'd love to know the inside scoop on why this, because they haven't done this before.
Well, put that graphic back up there, Mike.
Yep.
Remember what happens between August and November.
Windows 11.
You've got Windows 10 that's going
sunsetting, right?
Sunsetting, and Office. Oh, I'm drawing a blank now. 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to double check that if it was 2019 or 2016, because I'm drawing a blank now. But anyway, if you're using the desktop version of Office, then that also sunsets. And so what happens if you're still using that? And so if I were Zoom, I would say, you know what, let's wait and see. And by November, they should have figured it out. There'll be enough people that's happened to.
Right. And again, this is the big dilemma that's going to be happening right now. And actually, I was watching a few different um, influencers that are riding the fence between Linux world and the Windows world. And I mentioned it to Jason before. Chris Titus Tech, he actually did a video today that actually showed that the actual Windows market share is actually starting to drop because of this. And again, it's and which is becoming more interesting too, is that with the latest version of Canary, for everybody that doesn't know what Canary means, that from the and you're used to the Mac world, Canary is the latest beta alpha even version that Windows releases to the wild that everybody can start playing with. But it's never going to be, it's not stable, it's not beta, it's Canary. And the latest Canary version, actually, there is proof that Copilot AI code is in there and already making mistakes. So that has been caught and been released to the wild in the latest version of Canary. Now, that being said, that is a very alpha version, but again, it still left the Microsoft internal group to be starting to be used by external people outside of the Microsoft universe. So things are being caught. Developers at Microsoft are actually being let go from the Windows world that used to work on the Windows OS as well, and are being replaced by Copilot AI from reports. Not specific reports at this particular point, but there's certain developers that used to be pretty into the Windows code that are not working there anymore and have their portions of what they were doing before now gone to AI, more specifically Copilot AI. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of months, so I can understand why Zoom is sort of going by November 1st, which officially, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it not the end of October when the actual...
It's October. I have to check the date. I wanted to say it was October 1.
Right. So again, as you'll see here, I'll bring it back up here. So the following enforcement for November 1st, 2025 is still to be determined. So TBD at this particular point.
Depending upon when the stuff hits the fan.
Depending upon when stuff hits the fan is correct. Absolutely.
And you know, in one of the developers, yeah, right, exactly, John. In one of the developers' conversations, what they're dreaming about, striving towards, is a self-healing OS. So your patch cycles would be shorter because theoretically, with Copilot so embedded, it could monitor, report, and presumably heal itself, you know, by changing code and then implementing it much faster than humans could. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the comment that John made, which was hilarious, of course, is Windows Hallucinations 11. Yeah, Windows 11 Hallucinations or Windows Hallucinations 11. Yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
I was just gonna, express a thought that at least at my organization, we do 3 Zoom updates a year, required updates a year. And one of the reasons for that, besides security patches and stability, some people don't desire new functionality. I've learned the software, I don't want to keep learning it. But the lifecycle policy forces people to at least keep up within 9 months. By extending it even further, can you imagine a user who hasn't updated Zoom in a year, how much has changed in the last year, it's going to be a lot to learn all at once. At least if you upgrade incrementally every 3 or 4 months, you take a bite of the cookie, you digest it. 4 months later, you take a bite of the cookie, you digest it. But I mean, to do a whole year of Zoom updates and have that huge shift in what Zoom has accomplished and have to digest it all at once seems like a lot to me.
Because remember, the major version change happened at 6, right? So the required was 517 point something something. So yeah, you're going to get tabs in your meeting window. You're going to get tabs in your chat. You're going to get
AI, maybe AI if you haven't used
AI,
AI yet.
all the AI stuff.
It's
Yep.
going to be a lot, and who knows what Zoom will release between now and November.
Right. And here's another caveat that because of, as we started the show today, talking about the Elgato Stream Deck plugin that now does Zoom integration, you now have to be at a minimum 6.4, running 6.4 for it to work. So not even the 517.5.
Sure, but I mean, I'm not worried about Stream Deck integrations compared to users who haven't used the most current version of Zoom for a year, having to figure it all out because they require it for work.
Like your adjunct professor that
Well, just
didn't work the last 2 terms.
not just in my organization, but I mean across North America or the world even. Imagine having employees who refuse to update, and all of a sudden now you've got a year of Zoom updates to figure out all at once. That's a big hurdle, especially for support teams. They're gonna get inundated with tickets like, I don't understand how this works anymore, or what's this, or why does it function this way. There's a lot. All of us constantly are learning and figuring out how Zoom's changing and evolving. Not everyone puts that effort in. It's going to be a lot, right?
Yeah, as a best practice, when we do a series of classes, we always offer a session 0 so that folks can get up to speed on the interface. There's no content delivered, there's no grade issued or anything like that. It's strictly, let's get familiar with the tools and how to use them, introduce each other, see you next week. That's basically the gist of session 0.
All right. Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Okay. So we went through, so again, as I was mentioning, it is going to be a 6.5. So again, if you're still at 517.5, which was Jason was talking about, now as of Monday, it looks like, yeah, Monday, we're going to be 6.5. So 5.17.5 all the way up to 6.5 now. So that's right. It is going to be a lot. There has been a lot of changes. There always is a lot of changes. And it's even tough for us to keep up here on the Zoom Test Kitchen, as the Zoom Test Kitchen community knows from even comments that we make in Discord as well. And
Hey,
that's
Mike, random question for you.
Sure.
In some places, Windows 11 identifies as Windows 10. Like when you're querying, operating systems and things like that.
Right.
So I wonder, have you heard any talk or seen anything on the tea leaves? Like, is that problem? What problems might that cause, or how do we mitigate that?
Yeah, interesting. So what Jason's talking about is, so basically this would be software programs that are querying, what version are you of Windows, right? And there's still in the background in the actual OS itself of Windows 11, it's still saying, oh, I'm Windows 10. So that's what Jason's talking about. But it will be interesting. Will that break software is where Jason is ultimately going with this. Maybe. Depending on the age of the software would be my thought. So if we're getting into software that was happy in Windows 7, may no longer be happy in Windows 11, but was happy in Windows 10, that's quite possible. When it comes to, and again, we're not even talking about Windows 8 because it was around for, a blink, and, basically the major upgrade was from Windows 7 to Windows 10. and even 8.1, we're not even really, as an industry, we don't, Windows wise, we don't really talk about version 8 anything. But again, if it's software that was in 7 that went up to 11 now, it depends on how Windows 11 going forward will represent itself. Jason, that's my official answer to that. Should they change that? Will it break stuff? Possibility is endless at that particular point. So, if it's, of course, if it's a Microsoft product, you would hope that everybody's talking to each other properly. So the Office world should be at least talking to the OS group, we hope. But that being said, if you're a third-party app, which Zoom is, in Zoom's case, they more have to worry about Chromium, as we learned today. So they have to stay more up to date with Chromium, and should there be bugs or patches in Chromium, then they have to start worrying about that more. But Chromium is platform, I don't want to say agnostic per se, but it when you actually put it on, when it's been made, I'll use that terminology. I won't get into compiling and all that fun stuff. But let's say it's ready. If it's a Windows-based Chromium version being used by the app developer, in this case Zoom, then yes, they should be perfectly fine as long as they're sticking, as long as it doesn't break Chromium. Now that's a different story. But at least then it's on Google to make sure that they're talking with Microsoft properly in that regard. Because in the end, Chromium, even though it's open source, they're still the parent company of Chromium. When again, we're sticking strictly with Zoom, but again, we can get into all other third-party stuff like DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve, if it checks it to see what operating system and it doesn't understand what Windows 11 is, and it might freak out, possibility there too. Yes, absolutely. Did I answer that, Jason? That's what you're looking at? Yeah, cool. That's my thoughts right now. I'm not seeing it, but that doesn't mean it's not out there, right? And again, it's not that Windows 11 that I've been playing with has reported back anything to the software that has said, I don't understand your installation issues, even during the installation process. It hasn't complained that, oh, I'm only supposed to be running on Windows 10, and what is this, Windows 11? I haven't run into that in the installer situations, but
are you running 24H2?
I'm running 24H2, yes.
Okay.
On test machines.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's where they were making API calls differently.
Yeah, I'm running 24H2, and I don't know if people are calling Canary 25H2 or not, but I do have a 25H2 one as well. Not as familiar with the 25H2. It installed, it's up, it's not breaking, but that doesn't mean
you didn't get a blue screen of death.
I didn't. That's right. That's about as far as I can tell you.
Right.
That's right. I didn't get a blue screen of death. Yeah, it powers up, and I can log in.
There you go.
Yeah,
enhancement.
Woo! So
see, these are the things why I would go Mac. If I could just drop my own memory chips into Mac without having to take out, boards and unsolder chips and then resolder chips in, then I'd be all for that.
Yeah, if the hardware wasn't as proprietary as it is, yeah, I hear you on that. I get that. John, anything new and exciting this week that you ran into and broke or fixed? Oh, he's thinking. He's pondering.
Yeah, these this world of NDAs, you have to work out what you're allowed to say and not say, and what you don't want to say. And wasn't there an events thing? Didn't something eventing happen recently, Mike?
Eventing? Who's eventing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Zoom eventing.
Zoom events.
Yeah.
Zoom events.
Yeah.
Oh, we're coming up with new words to modify.
We are in this modular world. We need to add these words.
Oh,
I was there. I was there this week. Did you guys notice me?
This week? Was there one this week?
Maybe it was last week. Whatever.
Last week.
I
did.
I had time to show up to one for a change.
And here's a pick on Frank. I actually used the new tabs because Josh has actually had the new tab in his meetings for a while now. And Frank didn't see me actually send him a private message in that meeting on that
I did not. Sorry.
because it was in the tab.
I have a question
Hey,
about the tabs.
Circling around. All right, go for it.
I've got 3 tabs, the main chat and 2 private, chat groups or whatever. I can't seem to find a way to close them. Once they're there, you can't dismiss them.
You can't even close them if they're empty.
That's just bad.
Or if people have left.
Like,
Well,
I
you
want to
can
leave the
delete it.
chat. How?
Oh, so pick one of those chat tabs.
Yeah.
Okay, and then underneath the tab icons, you'll see the list of names and the 3 dots. And under the open more, which are the 3 dots, you can add members, remove members, delete the chat.
I don't have that. I have add members grayed out, and I have nothing about deleting.
Yeah,
Or
Maybe-
leaving.
Accidentally
Maybe it's
started one for
a-
you.
Yeah, maybe it's one that you created.
I created one for you, Jason, and I then, by mistake, and I just switched across, and it created a message for you. I haven't sent any messages to you in it. I can add members, but I can't get rid of it.
Here, I just took a screenshot. I believe I even started this one. Hold
You
on.
can't. You can leave a chat that somebody else started. You can't, I believe, delete a chat that you started. I think it's
Okay.
backwards.
So Mike created.
I don't see it in
direct-
either one.
So Mike created a direct chat to me, and
Yeah.
I can add more members to it, but
Yeah.
I cannot delete it or remove myself. And here I just got a notification in. So this was from Frank. Okay, and let me just take a look at that screenshot that you put in there. Right, add members. Okay.
So I have one I created and one that I was invited to. I cannot do anything to either one of them.
Right, and that one that you just created with me in there, I can add more members to it, but I cannot leave it. So only the groups that I can create, I can delete.
So I can't seem to do that for the ones I created or the ones that I was in.
Really? Maybe it's a Windows thing.
Yeah, that would be interesting if it truly is a Windows versus, again, Frank, you're on Mac, correct?
I don't think it can be a window thing because this is all done by a web page, and that's how they were able to bring it out even without releasing a version of
update.
Zoom.
No.
I could see people, unless this gets some refinements over the course of the summer, imagine having too many icons and you want to manage them somehow. You're like, I don't care about that chat. I don't care about that chat. I want to leave that chat. If you can't leave them, that's also problematic.
Oh, yeah, right, because you're trying to manage conversation. So between the host and your panelist in a meeting environment, yeah, absolutely, you want to keep that open. But then every single chat that comes in, no, it's too distracting. And plus, I think there's too many side distractions that would be possible going on that the host wouldn't be aware of. Like if I've got my instructors and I see a lot of chat go on there, I just reach over and I just shut the chat off so that folks can focus on what the instructor is saying. And then when it's time for interaction, I can turn the chat back on. But if they're opening up all these tabs and DMing each other, I'm blind to all of that, and I have no idea whether my class is focused or distracted.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And also what I'm noticing too, guys, remember when we were talking before with David and I sent the screenshot, right? Where I had the more and I had additional tabs. Believe it or not, I've actually lost a few tabs and I don't know why. So
Maybe
now I
because
only have
people
that,
left it. Maybe because people left the meeting.
and then it eventually timed out.
I don't know. I'm
I know.
guessing.
Me
I know
too,
one-
because
I deleted one of those that you were in, Mike, so the icon should have gone away.
When this
Okay.
came out, I looked for documentation about it. There wasn't any. Regretfully, I haven't looked again to see if there's documentation on how this works, but
Oh,
on the Zoom support site,
right.
there was no documentation about this except in the release notes that it existed now, but there was no "this is how it works" page. I looked all over, and I even asked in Discord, and nobody had anything they could share with me.
Yeah. And as Frank is talking about that, I'm actually curious about.
I thought you had to ask a question in the community forum, and when we answer it, it then becomes a documentation. That's the way I'm starting to feel it is.
I really wish Zoom would go back to the way they did their documentation. The preview notes used to have screenshots, because sometimes reading just text off of screen, it's hard to envision how it's going to look and how it's going to work. And they used to put screenshots of the significant changes or how it was going to work. They don't do that anymore. Basically, the preview notes are the same as the release notes. You just get them earlier.
I think the documentation issue may be around the issue we talked before about lots of different departments all running around in different directions.
I also think that it used to be done by humans, and now I think it's being done. I think an AI is pulling it out of maybe some database that they're using internally as knowledge base or something. And
well, I
it's
did
not-
have a documentation issue in the developers forum regarding developers docs, and I reported it to the head, my boss in that area, and she was able to find the correct documentation and then get it updated in 2 or 3 days. But
all I'm saying is
that
I
means
think
she had to know there was an issue, know there was a fix, and then fix it. So yeah, it wasn't.
I just
automatic.
believe that it used to be human curated, and now I don't think it's human curated, and I don't think the AI is making screenshots.
Well, they did have all those layoffs.
Well, I know one of the people who used to do it from the community forum, and I don't think that person still does it anymore.
Yeah.
Now, here's something interesting, guys. I had actually private messaged Roland when he was in our meeting previously. And of course, everybody that's here, hello, Roland, welcome back. So Roland now actually came back, and the chat that I initially did with Roland did not re-engage. It said he left.
Yeah.
So John, basically what this is, I'm thinking, as you've told me about infamous meeting ID,
Yes.
Roland came in with a different meeting ID now than he did previously.
Correct. And
So
therefore,
that's why, yeah.
it would
So now
recognize
that
him to tie the chat up. Yeah.
I have a test for you, Mike.
Sir.
Go into the top corner of your chat and save the chat, and then open the chat and see if any references to that is in there for you.
Okay. If there's any
This
references to, tell me what I should be looking for again, Frank.
So you know how while the meeting is still live, you can save the chat.
Yeah, did that.
So open that chat
Yeah,
wherever it's saved on your computer,
yeah.
and then see if the conversation that's missing is in that saved chat. It probably isn't, but
Well, right now, I'll give you more of a visual. What I'm seeing is that tab, and Roland's telling us in chat too. He said chat disappeared. Nothing from the old meeting or earlier chat. So
no,
he's
I
not even
understand
seeing
the
that.
tab disappeared. I'm just wondering if you save the chat file, if it's gonna unify it somehow, or if it's just gone.
Yeah, no. So again, what I expected was that when Roland came back, that I would be able to then go back into that tab and start
Right.
chatting with him again.
Yeah, I
No, it
can't.
doesn't
understand.
work like that. And it didn't do that in the previous iteration of chat. When someone left the meeting, and I don't know that meeting ID is the right terminology, but when someone left the meeting and then came back at some point while the meeting was still in progress, using the same invitation link that they had received earlier in their email, you could not continue a chat with them. They showed up as a new user almost, or a new participant.
But because it was one unified chat window, if I didn't leave the meeting and you did, your comments were still in my chat window, and if I saved the chat, they'd be there.
Yeah, that's what I am seeing the comments that I have from Roland. But here's the confusing thing as a user. I'm thinking as a regular user is that, okay, so you left and you had a problem, and then all of a sudden you came back. You're going to get a new ID, John.
You get it. When you leave a meeting, completely and come back, you get a new participant ID. So as far as the app's concerned, you are a different person.
You're a different
Because the
person.
app doesn't actually know anything personal about you. It doesn't know your email address. But when you rejoin, you get a new participant's ID.
Right. And Roland's saying that I can chat directly now with Mike either. Is that can or cannot, Roland? Can't.
Really, you can't start a new one? That's weird.
Interesting. Isn't it though? So again, just for everybody on YouTube. So basically Roland left us because he had other commitments and then now has just rejoined us here a few moments ago. And he's trying to direct message me like we were before, and he cannot now. And he came in theory, as John has told us, he now should have a new ID. But again, of course, his username never changed. And Roland just confirmed with us too that you're using the same Zoom account both times.
I've just private messaged him, so I don't know if you can reply back to that private message because that'll be a new one.
And Roland just let me know that it is the same Zoom account.
Yeah, it makes sense. The way John described it makes sense. It's just
and just to be a little bit pernickety, but to perhaps make things a bit easier for you, not username, Mike, screen name. That's how they view it. Sure. So it's a screen name.
Right.
Only for people who will have connotations about username and think it's like a control field, but no, you just have screen name and participant ID. They used to have a participant ID, but they depreciated that, and they now just have a participant ID. So when you appear as a new participant. I'd have to check. I was trying to think if you go into the waiting room, you come back, whether you keep the same ID. I can't remember. I'd have to check.
Would you like me to throw you in there, sir?
No, because I won't be able to know because I'm on the wrong computer.
Oh, okay, never mind. Do we have anybody that wants to take that challenge?
I only know all this boring stuff because I've been playing around with the Kick Me app, which now looks like it needs some add-on now for people that are going to constantly use all these new reactions too much.
So what's the challenge, Mike?
Yeah, Roland, the challenge was to go into the waiting room again and come back again, and we'll see if you could actually try again to try to direct message me.
All right, go again.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. Yeah, 1 sec. All right, everybody.
The challenge would be on your end, whether it sees Roland as the same person or not. So if you had Roland selected in the chat window, typed a message, did not send it, sent Roland to the waiting room, bring Roland back in from the waiting room, hit send in your chat, does it go through yes or no? Does it still see that as the same Roland, or does he have...
I can test that because I opened up a private chat to him this second time he came back. So when he comes back a third time.
All right, we'll go.
All right. Ready, Roland? Here we go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, Roland is now in the waiting room. And just before I bring him back, I will do a quick screenshot at my end to show everybody here what I'm seeing.
I'm making a guess.
I've got Roland Booth left, so it has correctly recognized that he's left.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, this is what I had initially that started this. And you'll see at the bottom there, Jason.
So when you bring him back from the waiting room, and
he will not be the same person.
Yeah, is the Yeah, let's find out. Is that participant ID initiated when they come into the main room or to the waiting room that is tied to the meeting ID?
Ah, I remember now. It's actually worse than this.
Oh, no.
If you go to a breakout room, you come back, you have a different participant ID.
Oh, careful now. You said participant. Did you mean participant?
ID. Yes, yeah. It's called participant ID. That's what it's actually called.
Right, but you said
which one did they got rid of one of the IDs?
I
They
just want
got
to make
rid of
sure that,
they had a user ID, UUID, and they depreciated that.
okay.
They have
And,
what we use now is participant ID.
okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure that's cleaned up. Roland, okay, so try to private message me.
I can
Ah,
private message him.
worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But again, it's in a different tab. So now I have two Roland tabs.
Okay. I've been able to carry on the private message I had with him. But
I only
in my
see
private message, he's only been to the waiting room and back. That's
There
the
you
only place
go.
he's been.
So the participant ID is assigned in the waiting room tied to the meeting ID if you have meeting room enabled. If you do not have meeting room enabled, then you obviously don't go to the waiting room. You would come right into the meeting. So participant ID is relevant to the meeting ID. And if you move back and forth to the waiting room, you have the same participant ID and the chats can carry on.
I would have to check doubly, but that's what it's suggesting.
That's what it's suggesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
but
again,
John, I don't see the previous message from you. I only
No, because
see
you
the new
never keep messages. Once you leave
message.
something, you don't see the previous message. You only see the messages from when you reappear.
Right.
In the same way as if you turn up late to a meeting, you won't hear all the don't get all the previous chat, except if you set up the continuous chat. They were, but I haven't seen it happen. They were suggesting that if continuous chat was running, you would be able to see the previous chat when you turn up to a
Would
meeting
have
late.
to be set in the client.
It has to be set up in the meeting if you want continuous chat. So
So that would be David would have to set that up.
yeah. When you're in your meeting in the
host would have to
definition
set it
of
up.
of a meeting, there is a continuous chat tick box somewhere.
Does continuous chat affect the ability for AI Companion to summarize the meeting? If I show up late to the meeting and I want to catch up.
No, because you just conflated two modular systems.
Yeah, Companion is separate from the chat.
Companion reads the transcript, not the chat.
Okay.
But that's a really good point to make, Jason, because some people do not always automatically start the transcript when the meeting starts, and they wait for somebody to request it. And if you do that, then Companion, I've got to get the right way around now. Companion, then, if you ask it in the meeting,
it will only give you when they turn on Companion.
Can only refer to what it sees there.
Right.
But if you do a meeting summary at the end of the meeting, it seems as if it heard what happened before the transcript started. I have a feeling there is some disconnect between the different levels.
How is it able to hear the words in the meeting summary, but was not able to hear the words prior to transcription being turned on?
What's the difference between captions and transcript?
So why wouldn't it just stay with captions the whole time?
I don't know. And I can make it even more complicated for you. You do realize there's two AI companions in Zoom, don't you? There's the AI companion that works with you, that's with you all the time. And there's the AI companion that's in the meeting with you. And you get different results asking them the same question because they are in different environments. They are in different places.
I wasn't aware of that, but that makes total sense.
Yeah, so it's AI based.
Because one's listening in on the meeting
good.
because it's in the meeting with you, and the other one is your companion.
So help me walk through a meeting setup. Here's the use case. I have a team meeting. I have people that are consistently late joining the meeting and they want to get caught up. So the end user wants to query AI, catch me up. Now, as a manager, I would say, well, if you miss the meeting, we have a management problem. This isn't a situation for the software to solve. But my manager says, no, make sure that when people join the meeting late, they can query the AI and say, catch me up. So as a host, when I set up a meeting, what tick boxes do I have to make sure I've ticked off?
I don't think it's a tick box for the meeting. I think it's in the settings, because we were actually having a conversation with this today. So thank God I had that conversation with one of my customers today. If you go into the AI companion settings, you can get you can get transcripts and AI companion to be with you and start at the beginning of all meetings. It's in your it's in the settings
In
on the website.
Under the admin or under user meeting?
It's in both places.
Okay.
So the admin has to enable stuff
To allow the user to turn it on or off.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
correct.
I'm always now trying to get, I'm typing in the wrong keyboard for the wrong computer. I'm always trying to get people to turn on transcripts, especially if it's a business meeting, a networking meeting, any type of meeting where you're having conversations about things which you need to remember, because so often now people will say things or they suggest things, and it's so much easier just to copy and paste a part of the transcripts and then put it in my to-do list, my Zoom to-do list, than it is to write it all again down by hand.
Which is now officially called Zoom tasks, by the way.
Zoom tasks.
I had that this week actually happen to me where there was a couple of items that were talked about. I never took any notes. And again, within a few minutes after the meeting was finished, I ended up with AI generated Zoom tasks.
Well, they're not real, are they? You have to accept them before they become real.
Correct. Yes. Yes. But again, were they useful for me? Yes. Because I wasn't taking notes at the time? Yes. It just happened to be that I was doing a demo of certain new Zoom capabilities with one of my staff members. But again, it was a task. There was a couple of items that came up. There's like, oh yeah, that's right. I have to tell that person blah, blah, blah. But again, AI companion, as John was saying, that was in the meeting, sent those tasks to me.
So can I screen share, Mike?
As far as I know, yes. And
Okay.
if you can't,
Yeah, otherwise I was just about to screen share the same thing. But
sure.
You carry on.
Okay, yeah, let me give it a whirl here. Actually, hold on. Let me put this up on the correct screen so that the
yeah, and once you guys are done with that, I wanted to show, I did have the screenshot that I sent everybody here on the panelists, the actual what it looks like for me now, with me now having a tab of Roland when he was initially on, and again Roland after he came back. Now I officially have two tabs, and I can't get rid of the other one, his old one. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I checked dual monitor. That's why my layout changed. Okay, sorry. So here we are, and so basically I need this one right here. Allow meeting hosts to retain and access meeting transcripts.
Yeah.
For AI memory to.
If you go up to the top and just put AI in as the search term.
Yeah, I did. So here I am, AI companion, manage all settings. So,
no, go into the search term and just put the letters AI, because there's AI in lots of other places.
Okay.
So you've got AI generated backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Allow users, you were saying that one. So you see that next one, second one down. Allow users to ask AI companion questions about the meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's hidden in meeting toolbar, so I can
hit show. Yeah, you have to save it.
Yeah, that popped up here.
And also further down, there's the AI companion with recordings as well, which is worth having. Oh yeah, sorry, meeting summary. You probably want that one.
Meeting summary. That one is.
Wouldn't you have to turn it on though, or is it turned on?
Wait.
It's locked, but you've got the ability to unlock it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why it's saying enable come up.
Okay. Allow users in this account to view summary shared with them. Okay. Right.
All right.
Restrict
Turn on meeting
users.
summaries automatically when meeting starts. Yeah. That's the one we were talking about. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
And you need to hit save. Then you see further down where you just above where you just clicked save.
But going back up,
choice.
when if you want to turn on The first one that you were talking about. The further up.
Third from the top. One, two,
Allow
three.
users to ask companion. Wouldn't you want to turn that one on, or you don't want that one on?
Let me find that one again. Allow
The
users to
second
ask
one, the
companion.
second one there.
Oh, here. Yeah, I would think so. Allow users
Yeah.
to ask companion questions about the meeting.
Yeah, I thought you had said that on.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you did enable and then you didn't do anything.
And
That's
then
it. Now you've got it.
automatically when meeting starts. There we go.
Yeah. And again, can you see you got share access with, so you can decide who gets access to that?
Only affects newly created meetings going forward. Participants
Yeah.
only when they join. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So if they don't join, then they don't get a copy.
Right. Right.
As opposed to the one above. I'm not saying you should change it, but I'm just explaining. The other one above is if they're invited, then they get one even if they don't turn up.
Right. And so
Which
the
is
use case
interesting.
for that is if you're a manager and you're on vacation and your team's having a meeting, you can still get caught up on the meeting. But
Yeah.
if you're an employee who's a slacker and doesn't show up to meetings and then
You're
queries
still going
the
to get it.
AI, then you would still get that. So
Yeah.
since I'm dealing with the latter, I'm going to leave it here as the second choice. You come
Yeah,
to the
and-
meeting, you can query.
Exactly. And then you can see that the other two differentiations are you can differentiate between people in your organization can get it, or participants who turn external from your organization can get it.
Yeah.
And of course, the bottom one is it's just for me only, and then you just have to send it to everybody else.
And if you're talking, secret squirrel stuff, then you shut all this stuff off.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So again, that comes down to Jason, if you're locking it or leaving it unlocked. You can have it
Yeah.
enabled and unlocked. Then it allows the user to disable.
Right. Yeah.
And then
okay.
the next one is a reminder, which is probably not accessible, useful for what you're doing at the moment, but that's allow you to it reminds you to turn
But
it.
since
to turn
I've
it on.
already asked up here, I said somewhere
You're
up here, I
automatically
said,
going on. Yeah.
yeah, I said turn on at the start of the meeting, so then I
Yeah.
don't need
But
a
for people
reminder.
that's right. But for people who don't, then you've got that option. You don't need the custom disclaimer. You've got the meeting. Then you've got how the meeting summary gets to everybody. You probably want to change the share options there.
Yeah. The custom disclaimer, Jason, is up to your corporation, of course, and your legal team.
Right. Yeah.
But the Zoom one in itself is good enough. It's just if your legal team
And
wants
it's
it to be more
version
specific.
6. Yeah, so they got to be on version 6.0.10 or later to get the custom disclaimer.
Right. So again, as we were talking earlier, again, the 5.17 guys, out of luck.
Yeah. And then here, whether or not it can probe chat messages. So that's to the question I was asking earlier, John. So
Yeah.
here is whether it gives that memory and context to AI companion to summarize meetings and catch up and those kind of things.
Yeah. It's very comprehensive, all these options. I'm really impressed with the number of scenarios they're covering with all these things.
Yeah, and likewise too, if you're dealing with secret squirrel kind of stuff, you better go through and double check these settings because here it has optical character recognition, so it can see your spreadsheet with who you're getting ready to fire on your team or something like that, right? And you
Yeah.
don't want to make that a transcript and send it out to all the team members.
No.
Well, it's even worse than that. Depending on what kind of a corporation or business or whatever your area of endeavor is and your regional laws, anything that has a written transcript may be subject to a freedom of information request.
That is correct. And if
And
you're
the only other
doing-
one I think that's all the ones that I've touched. The only other one I touched, I think there's one in the set of recordings. There's a tip box for whether you want transcripts in the recordings.
To query companion questions based on the recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Allow users to summarize lengthy threads and catch up on important details at a glance. Well, yeah, because... Oh, right, okay. Right, because I've got encryption. That makes sense. Okay, thank you very much. We'll give it a whirl and see what happens.
No problem, Jason. Yeah, so next what I was going to show is, again, when we were talking earlier about when I mentioned Roland, I couldn't go back to the tab initially that when Roland joined, I had to get to the point of a new one. But again, when Roland initially joined, he couldn't do it. But now he could do it when he went to the waiting room and came back, which is a little weird. But this is what I'm now officially seeing, is that you can see now at the top there. So Roland with his picture is the one that is showing there where we're able to chat with each other. But right beside it is Roland again, but now it's just got his initials. But that is when he was with us initially, and I can't get rid of that.
Now I can't imagine what the rules are for when you can and cannot delete chat messages. I can see how you can leave if you didn't start a group, but you can't leave a group that you started. I can understand that. That seems to make logical sense, but I can't work out when you can delete or you can't delete. But yeah, from his participant ID, he's seen as two different people, but not when he went to the waiting room.
Right. So again, because now again, is it because of the fact that he joined, he automatically got the ID? So going to the waiting room, he never lost the ID because he didn't
Correct.
really get out of the meeting.
He never left the meeting.
He never left the meeting.
But-
Saw him the same person.
Right. So it basically treated him as if he went into its own breakout room, really.
I will let you know for certain next week. I will let you know for certain next week.
I was always told breakout rooms are a different meeting ID.
Yes. Yeah, you get a different. You come back from a meeting and a participant. This is the nightmare I've had with this Kick program. The fact that it can monitor when you put your hand up and then count the number of times you put your hand up and kick is fine. It can do that. But if you go to a breakout room and you come back from a breakout room, you're a different person, and then of course, what happens if you rename yourself? And then the person says, "Kick Fred." Who's Fred? And because they've renamed themselves in the middle of kicking, so there's so many things you need to do.
How come if you go to a breakout
catch
room
them?
and come back, you don't lose your direct messages? How does it retain it that way, but it doesn't retain it if you leave the meeting and come back? Like, because you've gone to a different meeting.
I know. There's a good chance that it's using one of the IDs that it doesn't let us use as developers.
Yeah, there's definitely something that goes through
Because
the
the
matrix
reason-
switcher that's persistent.
The reason I believe that they make us use the ID that they do as developers is because that is a participant ID for the meeting, which means as an app, I have no idea who you are. I just know you got a screen name Frank. I've got no idea, and I've got no way of telling you who you are unless I get permission to ask more about you as a person through the APIs. So I think it's very much a privacy thing, but of course, built-in apps can know a bit more about the people, and track them a bit better.
That was definitely good to bring up, Jason, because again, it was good to walk through I did see actually a lot of people watching on YouTube, we increased there during that. So that was good, Jason, to walk people through how you're actually turning certain things on and off. So that's good. YouTube,
And if they
back.
want to know, they can always watch the transcript.
Because it's very modular. Did I sneak it in? I think
it is.
All right.
It's great having a word that Zoom hasn't yet appropriated.
Yeah.
Tasks.
Oh, look out. Yes, they have.
I love.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, Zoom, formerly known as to-dos, now known as tasks, correct?
Yes, correct.
Microsoft Outlook, formerly known as tasks, now known as to-dos.
Just because.
Well, I think Microsoft did it first, and because they've been trying to push that for 6 months now, because to-dos are they can be used in several different places, like Planner and Teams and SharePoint, whereas tasks were limited only to an Exchange server.
Interesting. And I know from the Google verse, they also use the terminology tasks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's where the method is becoming now. Jason, with your experience back in the WebEx days, what did they do? Did they have anything like that or no?
No. The thing with WebEx and why it's relevant, of course, is because Eric and the first few Zoomers came from WebEx, right? That's where they got all. So WebEx focused on one thing well, which was doing audio and sharing a PowerPoint or whatever content you wanted to upload into the environment. Doing that well at low bandwidth. Then they figured out how to add video to low bandwidth because this was back in the DSL days. And so you would actually run through their server and you would pass the ball around to control who was controlling the slides, etc., etc. When they added in Training Center, then you could upload documents and share those documents with people that you had either registered for the training or had invited to the training. And then that was the gist of it. That's all that they did. And any other communication that you wanted to do with folks before or after, you would do in an email or you would pick up the phone or whatever. And then they added in Training Center, you could set up a test. Zoom calls it a quiz. And you could mark, obviously, a correct answer, but then you could track. So you would have, even way back though in those days, you would have, Mike would take the test and he got answer number 4 incorrect. He got answer number 7 incorrect. And here's his score. And did he pass or did he fail? And did he get notified that he passed or that he failed? And that was all set up from way back then in the days. And that's all that it did. And it did it well, but it was very expensive. And then, of course, Zoom came along with higher bandwidth, and then WebEx had to play catch up. So there you go, the whole history.
Yeah. I remember the old WebEx days, and of course, we won't even go to the GoToMeeting days too.
Oh, yeah.
GoToMeeting before GoToWebinar.
Where WebEx still has a large share is obviously they run everything through their Cisco servers, right? So they advertise security out the wazoo, and the people that buy WebEx are very interested in security and put the hardware in place and the infrastructure in place.
Absolutely. So Roland, any topics this week? Any problems this week with Zoom? Did you break anything? Besides team,
nothing broken. Fix the OSC problem.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you go down the road of actually getting the new Stream Deck, Elgato Stream Deck Zoom?
No, I haven't gotten the Stream Deck yet. No. I'm not even sure I'm going to get that. Companion works just fine.
Okay, good.
Just a little tweak. There's something I didn't pick up on. To get the feedback, you have to actually put the IP of the machine that's getting the feedback. I was still using the last time I had Zoom OSC running, it was on the same machine that had Companion. So I was getting away with it. Now that I had moved it to the Mac, because of the Mac only thing, Frank is smiling, since I'm forced to use the Mac for Zoom OSC. I forgot that I had to change the IP in the transmission to Mac IP where the companion.
So no longer listening to localhost. Now you actually have to use
the IP, because if the IP was in there, it would work. But because it was on the local machine, it was the loopback. So just change that. Yeah. And it was all right. The tool that Mickey suggested. I didn't find that tool, but one near that, and with that I was able to trace where it was trying to connect and then realize what the error was and fixed it. But I think it's a naming, the way it is named, I think they could have named that field better so that you know that that IP must be definitely be the IP of the companion instance.
Okay.
With that, it means that you can't run two different instances of companion trying to control Zoom OSC. That's an interesting thing. You
I
can
don't
only
know
have
enough
one.
about the OSC, but
Well, the reason
companion you
is
could.
Mike. It has to know which IP it's sending back the feedback to. So you can if you have OSC companion on one machine with one IP, say you have it on IP.1, and you have an companion on another machine with .2. Only one machine can get the feedback. Both of them can send instructions, so you can have both two different machines, two different companion instances sending instructions, but only one can get back feedback.
Okay, and that is you're making that setting within OSC itself.
It's within OSC itself.
Right. Okay.
So that was an interesting find going through it. So
Yeah, that is interesting because I know that this week actually, I don't know if Jonas is actually watching us this week or not, but Jonas actually, along with John, were talking actually about
the new companion.
the new version of Companion where you could actually have a little bit of redundancy, where
It's
you could
actually
actually
nice.
Yeah.
What I do in one case is that I actually run two emulators. So I have one companion instance, but have two, if you want to call it, two surfaces from that one same instance with different things, so that somebody can be on one moving the pages to wherever they want to go on one instance, or one surface, quote unquote, without
Right.
affecting what the other person is doing. When they share the surface from the same instance, then whatever page one goes to, it forces the other one too. So you basically just create another surface within our emulation in emulators, I think they call it in companion, and that problem went away. So that's all right. So that works. So I can have two different persons doing two different things using the same
Right.
companion.
Using the same companion. Yeah. And again,
without them clashing.
right. And again, what you would have to do if you wanted, and this is good to know about OSC, is that if you want to send feedback to the companion, now becomes the problem within OSC. Now you cannot put in multiple IPs of
Right.
multiple companions.
So I figured that out. So that was a learning one.
No, that's cool. And that's something interesting that I just learned as well from what you just said when it comes to OSC. I haven't played with, again, we're not a Mac house here. So I haven't been playing with OSC when it comes to feedback and such with Companion. But two things that I did notice, and John let me know about this, is that for all of you out there that are running Black Magic, there's actually the actual main software. There was an update, and I did do that, and it didn't break anything. Hooray! And I was able to do that before the show, and everything's been running just nice. It did not, for all those 810 Mini Pro owners, it did not flash any new functionality to the firmware of the actual 810 Mini Pro. I cannot speak of Extreme or any of the such because, again, I did it just before the show, and I'm running an 810 Mini Pro for the show.
It seems more directed at the bridge, 810 bridge, more than anything else. And then after that, it was just little fixes, I guess. So nothing, the 810 bridge was the one that it said that you would see something different.
Yeah, correct. That was the major thing in the release. But again, I always like keeping the actual software control up to date.
Yeah, I agree.
To make sure that should there be something that, magically they didn't talk about, and they've done that to us before, that all of a sudden, oh, there's a new version of the firmware, and boop, they put something in somewhere to fix something. So I was hoping, but it never
Yeah,
checked.
I will probably do that with a little later. Or
Yeah,
tomorrow.
again, I know I did it dangerously before the show, which I shouldn't have, but again, this is not production for me. So in that regards, I would not do it on a production switcher without testing if as long as you've got multiple machines. Right, John? Okay. Just picking on
Yeah, I feel that the updates for the 8M minis is over. We're not going to get any more features in those. I think they're full.
Yeah, again, I think now it's coming down to the limitation of what's in the hardware itself now. That certain functionality like ST2110, chances are the encoders are not going to be strong
They're
powerful enough.
surprised just the other day by adding SR something. I think one of them. I think SRT they added
Yep.
to the
Yeah,
mini.
SRT is good. Yeah, absolutely. You should.
And they didn't add. Interestingly, they added SRT to the mini before they added it to the television studios, 4K. That was interesting.
Yeah,
Was
again,
added, yes.
yeah, again, because I know a little bit in the background because I'm also testing when it comes to YouTube. YouTube is strongly pushing to eventually drop our TMP and go SRT only. So it's beneficial for those that are not using SRT to play with it because it has a lot more benefits than RTMP does. And because of the age of RTMP, there's very little items that Adobe is doing with the RTMP stack nowadays. And I don't even know if they are actually themselves doing anything to even maintain it anymore. Where SRT is still is fully open source and
wasn't there another group that had taken it over though? That was the like an enhanced RMTP and something like that.
Yeah, there is RTMP-E, which is what Roland is talking about, which is the RTMP enhanced. But that is them fixing the problems with RTMP as it was, because again, you got to remember that RTMP was never, again, my streaming hat on for momentarily, RTMP was never made for HLS. So when Adobe or when Apple came up with the HLS way of streaming, which is majority of how streaming happens nowadays for the most part, minus Stash and others, and I'm not going to get into that. But HLS for the most part, they used RTMP into the server and then it comes out HLS. So now if you bring in SRT into the server and it comes out HLS, not only will you have a lot more reliability in the feed, you'll also have more, there'll be less latency. There won't be no latency, but there'll be less latency. But at least then you can actually control more often. You have more control of if you're on a terrible connection, you actually can buffer a lot more before it's actually sent to the servers. So SRT has a lot going into it, but I'm not going to get into that here. But yeah, play around with SRT. There is a reason that the broadcast world is doing a lot of things with SRT now, especially when they're backhauling from live locations around the world back to their control rooms in their broadcast centers. SRT, there's major reasons for that. And one of them is that it reduces that amount of time before the person at the other end actually hears that person going, yeah, thanks. And I'm here and such. That remote reporter. So yes, RJR should definitely look at SRT.
No, we use it. We use it regularly.
Yeah,
it's part of the workflow, especially for taking in content.
Yeah. So again, yeah. So you can imagine where YouTube, and again, you may have to get it enabled depending on your YouTube account to have SRT capabilities.
Right. The only thing with SRT is the poke. Sometimes it forces it, depending on which direction and what you're doing, it forces you to poke holes in the firewall.
Correct. Yeah, because again, it does need a port. That is correct. So yeah. So again, if it depends, and this is where I'll stop, but since Roland brought it up, this is depending on if SRT is in listener mode. So it's listening for incoming
Caller mode, yeah.
or outgoing. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember that
Caller
term.
and receiver.
Caller. Yes. Caller versus listener. Yeah. So if it's in caller mode, then it's sending. If it's in listener mode, of course, it's listening. So yes, it has to have the port open. In caller mode, you don't, but in listener mode, you do. But again, it's not a bad thing if you also have it on the caller mode too, because then the firewall knows that this traffic going through is do not disturb. All right, cool.
Just going back to the chat thing a little bit before we wrap up. I mean,
Sure.
I think it was mentioned earlier, but I just agreeing. The feature where you can use, I think you used to be able to click on the person, the participant, and chat directly with them. That I think they need to fix, because that's a natural way of doing it. You look for the person. It's easier to look for the person in the participant list and chat than having to go up the top, click on the chat, then go back down to look through this drop down again. That flow is not natural.
Totally agree with you on that.
Go ahead, Frank.
You can still do it if you click on the person's video tile. You can chat them that way, but that only works well if they aren't on many screens.
Or if they're still on, if they're still in the video, you can do it. But if you want to,
If you click on like,
I've seen it. Like I tried it.
the three blue dots.
I can do it via the video tabs, the video button, whatever they call those.
The little tile, yeah.
Tile.
I can't do it from the participant list.
Yeah, I was just giving you an alternate to try to help.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, that helps. But I'm more thinking about how the users think. Not, I mean, you techie guys like Frank always have a workaround. It's how the users naturally like to find the things.
What
I
I
agree.
did, Roland, was I'm looking here in the participants panel, and when I see your tile and I double click on the tile, it opens up the chat directly to you as a private message. So that is a shortcut. Otherwise, you're having to click in 3 or 4 places before you can execute that function.
That feels new too.
Yeah, it is. Because the way that I used to do it as a host, I would have the participants panel open as a sidecar, right, where I'm monitoring who's got their mic open, who's got their video on, blah, 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 and then hit the 3 dots more next to that person, chat, and then I could start typing the chat. So that's gone. The 3 dots are there, but not the option to chat. But now if I double click on the tile that represents that user, that participant, then I get that functionality.
Interesting, because
Jason,
as host, I still see in that where you told me to go to the 3 dot, I still have chat as an
option.
I do.
Isn't that called their card? If you hover over someone's icon in the participants list, and then you click on their icon, that's their card, right?
Their
and
card.
if you click on the card,
Is that their terminology? Card instead of tile.
Anyways, then you get the more button, right? I put a screenshot in the chat.
Yeah, I see that, and you. Let me pull that up again. So then you got the chat option, and for me, and I'm going to try something here in a second. I'm wondering if it's related to my dual screen setting or not.
I have dual screen on.
Right, and hold on, let's see. So if I do this, and then I say this, okay, now let's see if it captured it. Go back to where Frank sent me a message. Actually, let me see if I can do this to everybody. So maybe that'll come through. So I only get the pin to first screen, pin to second screen. I don't have the chat option. But if I double click on the tile or the card or whatever it's called, then it is a shortcut. It takes me right to direct message. Now let me check something, and that is, let me go into my settings, and
Interesting, Jason. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's not what again, as host, I have much more. So I have
Right, of
all
course, yeah.
different ones.
So now let me change that and let's go to Frank, 3 dots. Now I just have pin. Okay, yeah. So that's not related to that setting.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not good I would need another panelist to confirm what Jason's doing
Maybe
for
it's
me.
a Mac
I
PC
only
thing.
have pin. I only see pin 2.
I'm on a Mac, so maybe it's a Mac PC difference. I don't know.
Could be. I mean,
Johnny, your PC, no? Or you're in the Mac today?
I'm in the Mini. I'm in the Mini today.
Oh, okay.
The Mac Mini.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I do see chat, but of course I see a lot more in there, where I've got the first screen, second screen. Let me just give you the list here.
If I click on a participant and I get the more button, I still have chat.
okay. That went away for me. It
Not
used to be
so
there.
on Windows.
Jason version?
Just let me see my version. Yeah, I was just going to say that too.
Let me
6.14.12.
Let me go to my
Yeah.
client.
So Frank is
I
latest.
have 6.14 or 4.
Say that again, Jason or Roland. Sorry.
No, the version that Frank says he has.
Yeah, 6.4.12.
Right.
Is the
That's what I
latest
have
PC
too.
one that I have.
That's a PC version that I have.
Yeah, me too. Again, I can't vouch because I'm host right now, so I can't vouch.
This machine is on 6.4.7.
Time to upgrade, Jason. Time to upgrade.
Yeah, this one's on the slow schedule because this is the production machine. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I let every other machine get quacked up before I roll it to production. Hey, I want to show you guys just before we wrap up here back to the efficiency mode because there's a interesting thing with it, and that is you can. Here we go. So in Windows, with your efficiency, you can have your Zoom meeting not be efficient, and you can have your Zoom Workplace app be efficient. Hopefully that was clear as water.
Do it one more time, Jason. And
Yes,
again,
sir.
for the people that are a Mac audience, so we can get really granular when it comes to our task manager.
In Windows, you can control your power management settings. And in Windows 11, they call it efficiency, and it's represented by this little green leaf. Okay? So here is my Zoom meetings at the top of the toolbar. No green leaf because I have set it to max performance. But the client, the Workplace app, let's see if I can drag it up to the screen.
Jason, can you go full on the task manager? Can you bring that up full screen? Let's see if we can get it a little better.
Oh,
just
and
for
let me get
YouTube
this
sake.
toolbar out of this way. Okay, let's see. I can't zoom in anymore, but it is full screen, and it's on a big screen, so it might make it mouse print there, Mike.
Yeah, understood. Yeah.
Is that better?
Just waiting for it. Not bad. I think the YouTube people will see it before.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit bigger actually when I had it minimized, but whatever. Okay, so just to all right, here we go. So the meeting, which is what we're currently in, not efficiency, and I can dial this in, but I don't want it to be efficient. I want it to run max power. But the Zoom Workplace app, okay, that I have set to efficiency.
Yeah, but you're doing this through Windows operating system.
Right, because that's where efficiency mode exists.
Right. But what the release notes are indicating is it'll be built in to the Zoom app after Monday. It probably leverages, it's probably some shortcut to this, but it's going to be inside the Zoom app is what I take from the release notes.
So that it's querying the status.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know the mechanism, but I think you'll be able to toggle it on and off from inside of Zoom.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Mm-hmm. That would be. And where?
Right.
And where
And
will
then-
the setting be? In
And
the
what
app?
conflicts will exist? Back to our previous conversation with all the different apps that can potentially.
I could be wrong. Maybe it's just going to harness. Like, it's obviously built on top of the operating system, but I guess till Monday we'll just have to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
Something else to add to the test script. All right.
Isn't that true, Jason?
That's why we come to the test kitchen.
That's right. And we break things. Yeah. So what I'll show you, so you saw what Jason was doing there on his share on Windows 11. Now I'll show you mine, the difference where I do not have efficiency in Windows 10. So now you guys should now see that. So you'll see all the different web views in here. And you can
Yeah.
see down here is where it's actually using the actual GPU, because this is the actual meeting itself that I'm in right now. And you can see my network and such capabilities.
Okay, if you right click on one of those GPU processes or in the non-meeting in the actual the web not the web app, darn it, the workplace app, you can select efficiency through there. Or does efficiency not, or it's called performance, I think, in 10, right?
Yeah. Are you guys seeing when it goes into the, so I did right mouse click on the actual.
Yeah, we see the submenu.
Okay. So we got the memory.
So that's the actual meeting. That's not the workplace app. It's the stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you
okay,
go.
So, yeah. All right. So go up here. I can go properties, but disk, network, resource values right now. So that's just changing the actual values that are displaying. Go to details. Let's see. Oh, that's, yeah. So in here, it goes really granular on the different.
Can you
MS
right click on that one that's highlighted that says Microsoft Edge Web View 2? And in there, do you priority? There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's priority.
But
And in
you
Windows
saw how
11,
far,
it's called efficiency or performance.
yeah, but you saw how far I had to go in Windows.
In 10 to do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Cool. So I just wanted to show everybody the difference between good old Windows 10 and Windows 11.
Yeah, you can do it in both. It's just called different things and in different places. Go figure.
Yeah. Why would there be consistency? Heaven forbid.
Right. But that workplace app, I mean, think about this. You know, what do you not want happening during a meeting that you're producing? Is that workplace app to be sending you reminders, notifications? Hey, you've got a meeting an hour from now, updating your calendar, like all that stuff that's eating up your bandwidth, right? So I just tell it, put it low priority, ignore that. When I'm done with this meeting, I'll pay attention to what's next and not before.
Right. So the other tidbit that I wanted to say, and I don't know if you did it today or not, Roland, but I did notice today that Companion decided to go 4.0.1 today. Hooray.
I haven't touched it.
Yeah, and I did update that before the show as well. So I updated Companion, I updated Blackmagic, and I made sure I was on the latest Zoom client. That's usually what I want to do so that I can also break things too in the Zoom test kitchen. But today, everything's okay so far, and we're almost done. So that being said, we'll do this one last time before we wrap up. Do any other questions from the YouTube? Let us know in chat, and I will relay it to the team before we wrap up the show for this week. John, there was Zoom Events Summit coming up, and it seems to be more targeted to based on time zone. When I signed up for it today, it seems to be quite early Eastern time for me. I saw it's actually going to start like at 3 or 4 a.m. Eastern.
Yes, that's possible. Is that because that's the I can't remember how to designate it now, but anyhow, the European Asian version.
Oh, they
Because I get
They,
invites
they've
now
got
to
them all
EMEA?
around
the
the time zones of the world, so you can
yeah,
join.
I get invited to the Japanese events, and of course they all
Yeah,
happen in the middle of the night, and then I have to work out where the European equivalent is,
yeah.
or stay up late and watch the American equivalent.
Yeah, I did not see any variations to this one. Just wondering if you did or not.
They don't connect very well sometimes between the different time zones. I suppose they think that if you're in a time zone, you don't want to know about what's in the other time zone. That would probably make sense.
Plus, if it's
But
simul-view,
and
probably isn't, but
you play guess which is Simulive and which isn't Simulive as well nowadays with Zoom.
Yeah, I do know that
Which is
Andy will be
confusing.
there. Andy's going to be there. Josh is going to be there. Brandon, I think, is going to be there. Actually, let me pull that up here so that everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to know what you're talking about
You would
because
like to know?
I'm thinking more of the 25th of June when we reach
25th of June?
the 25th of June.
This is the one that I'm saying. Zoom
This
Event
is
Summit.
Zoom Developers Summit, 25th of June.
Right, the following week. Correct. So again, so I'll take you to the main actual page. So there it is there. So you can see there's your start times. Somebody's getting a lot of email. I heard that. Well, these are all the speakers that'll be happening.
I hope they use this to fine-tune Zoomtopia for the fall, because the last Zoomtopia was quite disappointing.
Yeah, so Andy will be on, Josh will be on, Brandon will be on, and Jonathan will be on.
And we can get to play guess the pre-recorded content.
Yeah, the format of the last Zoomtopia is what I didn't like, but not so much the content, but the format. Hoping they're refining that.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm saying that Andy and Jonathan will be speaking for 15 minutes on successful hybrid events. 15
I
minutes.
feel sorry for them if they had to squeeze it into 15 minutes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And then there'll be a Meet the Experts Expo Hall following.
Oh, that's to show you that they're actually going to be there.
So, John, we know what that means, right? That means that we can assume that it will be a simulive for all the actual content, and then in the end they'll do a breakout room. So it's going to be basically a Zoom sessions or Zoom events webinar.
Oh,
Breakout after.
I couldn't possibly comment, but no, I couldn't possibly comment.
Blink 3 times if you're being held against your will.
Ah, yes, but somebody
As
did
long
bring
as
up.
they provide me this fantastic tool, which I can do clever things with. If they want to be boring on their own, using their own product, then that really is up to them. But come on, Zoom guys, Zoomies. You've had all these lovely features and tell about these lovely features, and yet you still really don't use them. I mean, it's just frustrating. Frustrating, but that's okay. Everybody can join me on my shows, and that's fine. That's hunky dory.
They're not going to take any chances because it might lead to market share loss. Everything has to be safe, right?
Yeah, there's certainly a difference between when you're not a member of Zoom and you can say things which members of Zoom would panic if they if they said, yeah, that's true. That's true. But there's just so many good ways to use the tool. You know, this new Zoom app that's come out for the Stream Deck. For production people are going to laugh at it, but your little, average user who just wants to take part and can have a little Stream Deck set buttons there and hit buttons and clap and raise their hand and have all the emojis and flying around the screen, they're going to love that sort of thing. I feel sorry for the schools because the teachers are going to get ballooned out, aren't they, with all the things happening? But it's great. And those sort of things are what happens on TikTok and all those, Bebo or whatever it's called, and all those other apps. That's the sort of things that happen on all those apps. You get lots of interaction from the audience, and we really need to bring that into here. Otherwise, we might as well just be using an old copy of GoToWebinar when it's pre-recorded for 3 hours and nobody ever actually turns up to it. The only difference is now, of course, you can get your AI to turn up to it and you can read this transcript later and you don't even have to turn up to the meeting at all.
As long as you enable that in the settings.
As long as you've been able to. And we've shown you how to do that already because we're such great guys in the kitchen.
So true.
It's just, I'm constantly frustrated by this product, which is so wonderful. And yet the people what promote it aren't using the features. And it's just such a shame. It is just a shame. But that's fine. That's fine. Come and join my courses and you'll see how to make it look even better. Oh, note to self.
So note to self that you're going to be selling a lot of this to the school market by the sounds of it in the new year. If everybody's going to have a Stream Deck, if all the kids are allowed to have Stream Decks at home, they're going, teacher.
There's so many other reasons, aren't there? There are so many other reasons for kids to have Stream Decks already that this is a good way for them to make use of it on Zoom.
Yeah. And Frank's even using it right now with his hand up too. Go for it, Frank.
Oh, I just gonna make a comment. It's too late in the show to really have a conversation. We didn't talk about the Cloudflare fiasco that impacted all kinds of Zoom services this week.
Not only Zoom, I had
the whole internet.
Other companies,
yeah, of course, yeah. But since it's Zoom focused show, I was just gonna.
Go ahead, Johnny. You got any more than that?
Well, I reported to you that it was Google Data Center that was having problems.
Right.
And I saw quite a few people saying, terribly sorry, our stuff don't work anymore because Google Cloud is having problems. But it turned out it was more down to Cloudflare and the CDNs world not working properly. So it wasn't actually the Google servers, it was the
I put information in Discord about it a day or two ago, whatever it was.
Frank, any high level info? Because you actually got me intrigued because I never saw any outage.
Well, I knew that Cloudflare was down because it was impacting other things I use in my job. And word got around, but I started seeing people complaining about stuff like Zoom uses CAPTCHAs. I think they use Google's reCAPTCHA, and it wouldn't work.
Yep.
So that was the first thing that made me go look, and then I went to the Zoom status page, and it had an explanation of all the things that currently weren't completely working. Anyways, it's not Zoom's fault. I mean, they rely on industry partners, but sometimes the internet goes down, right?
Yeah, can't stop it nowadays, can you really? It's just so interconnected with everything. And then somebody accidentally on purpose cuts a cable or fiber cable and you get even more problems. So
yeah. Frank, can you take a look at the link I put in chat and see if that's what you're talking about before I put that into YouTube chat?
That was the event.
That was it? All right. All right. And now YouTube, you get to actually see now the actual link that I was just talking to Frank about. So it was related to specific services. If you're familiar with Cloudflare, you'll understand the information. If you're not, might be a little too technical for you, but at least you could do a little more lookup on specific things that were broken, on specific services that were broken on Cloudflare, that you can guess which specific ones Google and Zoom might have been using,
Well,
because we'll never really know.
perfect time to promote the Discord because I put the information about what Zoom services were impacted in our Discord.
Oh, perfect. Right. Let me actually put that in chat too.
But here's the gist of it.
Ah, okay.
So, I mean, it was 40 minutes for some of it, but log in, sign up, reset passwords, Zoom scheduler, register for webinar, playback meeting recordings, depending where you are globally, update Zoom meeting links and calendar invites, unable to stream meetings to YouTube, unable to access Zoom support voice bot. So, I mean, depending if you were one of the unlucky ones, that would have been frustrating, right?
Yeah, yeah. And okay, so the Canada very specifically would have been us for playback meeting recordings. Then everything else is more generalized depending on what it was specifically. All right, cool. All right, gentlemen, any other thoughts or topics we want to talk about, or shall we wrap it up for this week? Because our friends on YouTube are being very, very quiet.
You know, in web design, you know, the hamburger, the drop-down menu?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the 3 dots was called the shish kebab. I only learned that this week.
Well,
Or, yeah.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, did you know that it was called a shish kebab?
No, I didn't know
I
it was
did not
called
know
the
that
shish
was
kebab.
called a shish kebab.
And considering I'm Ukrainian, that bad on me that I didn't know that was a shish kebab. That's hilarious.
I didn't consider shish kebab Ukrainian, but okay.
Yeah, that's one of
More
our
Middle
dishes.
Eastern, I thought. Anyways, I just
Yeah,
something whimsical to talk about near the end of the segment.
cool. Speaking of whimsical, who's choosing the genre of the week? Music genre of our final.
Still waiting for blues.
You're still waiting for the blues. Let me see if I can make Frank stay. I might be able to.
Ah, it's all good. How about bagpipe edition?
Bag.
Scottish Highlands edition.
A tattoo version.
Oh my.
I want the Greek panpipe version.
Oh, there you go. Zamfir, master of the flute.
All right, yeah. I can't whistle. All right. That's it. That's it.
The app
Closest I
has
could get
really
would
moved
be
on.
that is folk. Yes, go ahead, Johnny. Sorry.
Suno's the app that we're using. It's really added a lot of features recently, hasn't it? It's exploding in what it's doing.
You're talking what we're about to see on Monday, or you're talking what we currently got?
No, I'm talking about the Suno app that creates this music for us.
Oh, the Suno app. Yes, the Suno.
Yeah.
Well, I actually use the website. I don't actually use the app, but sure. Yeah, the website. Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, since I'll give you a quick little trivia on that too. This week I found out that the 3 major record labels, which would now be Sony, Warner, and I'm trying to think if Universal's under Warner or not, but let's go with Universal anyways. But the 3 major record labels are now in talks with Suno and one other AI company because of the fact that the songs are getting a little too close for their liking to original songs. So the AI models may be digging in a little too close to home when it comes to their current artists. So to be continued.
Oh, so I have to be careful what we play, or we might get Google cutting off YouTube for us.
My thoughts is that they want a piece of the pie. So it might get to the point where they've done that with YouTube, Facebook, and others that do live broadcasting, where they just want their royalties. That's where I think this is going to go. I'm not privy to it, but the tea leaves for me is that they've already got that model made. So for them to implement that model onto these AI companies right now that make music would be the easiest for all the record labels to, as a conglomerate, do, because they all already do that already with the Twitches of the world, the YouTubes of the world, the Facebooks of the world. That's why you'll get content strikes when you're on those different platforms, or get taken off the platforms because you're playing music that they either don't have legal licensing to do or not. So, but yeah, that is in the works, and that came out this week as well. So the closest to our pan flute is folk that I have, but I think it's a little too folky, and it gets a little too close to David's when he starts us actually with the officially. That is actually the I wrote that down. That is actually the country version that David starts us off with every week.
You have to put in something like Greek folk, or you have to put in a regional flair, otherwise it assumes Western folk.
Right. Yeah. Again, AI being very, very specific, it wants you to make sure that, again, the trick, depending on the AI, is if you can ask the AI to ask you questions, ask it, tell it to ask you questions, because AI actually has no problem asking you questions. Even though we feel that AI doesn't think that they should be asking us questions, we should only be asking them questions. I do that all the time, especially with ChatGPT, and I get better answers when they ask me questions, because there might have been something in my sentence that it didn't figure out. All right. On that note, I will stick with the standard, and I'll do us with the Deep House version 2, believe it or not. It's version 2, not version 1. Version 2 is better. So here it is. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen, where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio
All right. And believe it or not, Jason got a little bit of bagpipes there towards the end of that song. So there we go. We got close. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know how much we like our content. And don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific time. See everyone next week for another edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen.